Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
Terrified. Hot drop, McDavid. What a chance that was. McDavid with a shot. Zach Piper off the doorstep.
On Sports 1440.
And the Oilers Nation YouTube channel.
That's a save.
Well, a tantalizing Tuesday afternoon. How are you? And welcome to the Jason Gregor Show on Sports 1440, Oilers Nation, YouTube, and Facebook, as always presented by PlayAlberta.ca, where you can get in the game. And Lotto Max tonight. Maybe you need some good vibes after last night. Well, 70 million and 14 max millions up for grabs today at PlayAlberta.ca. The Edmonton Oilers. Whew. If only the game was 20. And the first 20 minutes of the game. Because the Oilers, they have no problem starting on time. They're just not great at finishing. Not ideal. It's like a salesperson. Right? Make great calls, can't close. The Oilers right now cannot close against the Dallas. Game 1 or game 2 period 16-4. Didn't have a lead. Last night 10-3. They're all over the Stars. Then in a span of 3 minutes and 33 seconds, Dallas goal. And it could have been worse because Stuart Skinner stopped Marchman on a breakaway about a minute and a half later. Then he stopped Duchesne on a breakaway in the third period. I know everybody's like, Stu Skinner. You're missing the plot if you think Stuart Skinner was the main reason. If Stuart Skinner was the main reason, then you're going to say, hey, what about the top line? They're up 2-0. The top line gives up both goals to start the comeback. All right? Then you've got, Desharnais, pounds it into the shin pads of Jamie Benn. That leads to the puck staying in the zone. Boom, they score. Darnell Nurse evidently wants to just back into his goaltender every time. He's allergic right now to standing up at the blue line, it seems. I don't get it. You're a great skater. Why the hell are you backing in constantly? You can't have that big of a gap. That's when players take advantage of you. Nurse's great recovery speed. Get up on guys. Way too passive. And I don't care. Don't tell me about expected goals. It doesn't matter. What matters is goals. And goals for and goals against. And Nurse is giving up way too many goals against. It's happened all playoffs. It's happening again in this series. Too much. Right? He's been on the ice for 18 goals against. The next closest defenseman is 12. 12. Like, it's just, can't do it. He's got to be better. Yeah, sure, some of them aren't his fault. I get it, but the truth is, he's on the ice for too many goals against. And not enough goals for. It's just that simple. So, he's got to play better. And if he's banged up, then don't play him. Right? Don't play a player who's banged up. We find out afterwards he's that banged up. Well, then why is he playing? Because unfortunately, right now, it's not helping your team. Right? You can't always be on the ice for a goal against. He hasn't gone a game without being on the ice for a goal against since game 4 against LA. Right? Now, the one game, LA didn't even score a goal. He was actually on the ice for that game. They won 1-0. Great. So if you look at Nurse's games where he has been on the ice, where he's been outscored at some point in the game, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 games he's been outscored. 2 games he's outscored the opposition. And then the rest, it's even. It's not good enough. Right? Salary aside, if he's making $7 million, it's not good enough. I don't care about the salary. I've said that many times. Salary doesn't matter. Last I checked, there isn't a salary cap in the playoffs. He needs to play better. Full stop. Got to play better. You're an associate captain, leader of the team. Play better. Play smarter. Stop backing in, giving up the blue line well, maybe not all the time, the majority of the time. Right? Better on ice awareness. Needs better positioning. He's not having a good playoffs. And the Oilers as the team, you're up 2-0. You're dominating the game. Then your top line gives up 2 goals. Hey, come on. This is a complete team collapse. Stuart Skinner played very well. 4th goal you don't like. No question. 4th goal, not good. And he's, I liked him. He stands in there and goes, hey, you know what? Probably could have been a little bit more patient there. Wait for him to make the first move. Valid. It happens, bang, bang. Now, there's mistakes in front of him that lead to it. Should have got the puck out. Right? And so I can't hang this on Skinner. Everybody's texting, oh, Skinner, what are you talking about? That game's over if he doesn't stop Marchman on a breakaway. And it's over if he doesn't stop Duchesne on a breakaway. Wasn't fault in any of the first 3 goals. If you're pointing at Stuart Skinner, you're missing the plot. The Oilers as a team can't hold leads. Giving up leads far too often, especially. And everybody knew Dallas was going to have a pushback. Well, okay. Well, absorb the pushback. Don't just let him run over you. Oh, put it in reverse. Let's back over him again. Spin the tires, just ripping the threads off. 3 goals in 3 minutes and 33 seconds. You can give up a goal, but you can't just fold and then give up another one and then give up another one. Yeah, they tied it. Great. But they didn't win because they gave up 3 goals in 3 minutes and 33 seconds. Right? When Dallas has the Oilers overwhelm them, do they get down 3-0? No. 2-0 or 1-1 like in game 2. If you want to win, especially now, you can't give away games. You just can't do it. So the Oilers will have to regroup. I expect they'll have a very good first period because they've had a good first period. But the question is, can they show up in the third period? You know how many goals the Oilers have in the third period this series? They have the same amount of goals that I have. 0. Dallas has 3 plus 2 empty netters. Games are close. Games are on the line. Dallas finds a way. Edmonton doesn't. That's why they're down 2-1. Now, the series isn't over. But it's harder to come back on Dallas than it will be on Vancouver. And the Oilers, the other thing they got to figure out, Dallas likes the stretch pass. We saw it. They negated it in game 2, but last night, they do the weak side winger, and they were running it all the time. Up the ice. Now, it's not like they were breaking away on breakaways or anything. Marchman had the 1 breakaway. But it's more so Edmonton just isn't handling it. It's leading to extended time. It's leading to zone time. In some cases, to goals. And the order is just, you got to figure it out. Like, this shouldn't be a surprise now. Tomorrow's game 4. You have lots of video work. It's not that shocking. It's not like no one's ever used a stretch pass and be like, hey, coach, what's this stretch pass? I've never seen it before. No, you've seen it lots. So you knew it was going to be a tough series. But, man, last night, that's a game the Oilers should have won. Flat out. You build up a 2-0 lead. Match the intensity of don't just say, well, we knew they were going to push. So you knew they were going to push, and then you just let them push you around? Absorb the push. There's a difference. It can be a push, and you can handle it. Or it can be a push where they run you over. We saw what happened. I bet you if we went through conference final games where one team scores 3 goals in less than 4 minutes. I'd love to know what their record is in those games, but I'm guessing it's going to be really good. That short period of time ruins a whole 60 minutes. That's what it did. Because in the third period, again, they didn't give up a lot, but they didn't produce. They didn't generate enough. You can say, well, you know what? It's a game of inches, and they were close. If Desharnais' point shot doesn't hit the goalpost flush, just a little inside, maybe it's a goal. Maybe. But it wasn't, and they lost. And tomorrow, I would expect their best effort of the playoffs. Because if you go down 3-1, it's lights out Irene. Right? The flight to Dallas is all it's doing is prolonging the agony. Tomorrow, to me, is like Game 7 of Vancouver. It's a must-win game. And I would expect the Oilers to have their best effort. Stuart Skinner starting, as he should be. There shouldn't even be a question of him not starting. Ryan McLeod, I could put him back in. I might not put him on the third line, but I could put him back in. Like Derek Ryan's playing like 7 minutes. Derek Ryan is getting murdered 5-on-5. And that's where the game is played. The majority of it, especially in this series. There's not a lot of penalty kill or power play stuff, right? 5-on-5, and you're getting outscored all the time. I don't care if you win in faceoffs, right? So I would make that change. The other big decision will come on the back end. Will they insert Philip Broberg? You can make an argument they should. Will they? Another question. So we'll see. I know earlier in the year, Paul Coffey challenged his players. They responded. His players, meaning the defensemen. We'll see if they do that. Coming up today, we have a loaded show for you. We will hear from John Buccigross. Will join us from ESPN talking about all things NHL playoffs. We have Paul Sir talk a little about basketball playoffs. Oof, he might be in a tough mood, man. Oilers fans, you're frustrated. He's a Timberwolves fan. Things were looking so good, and then boom, 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 the Dallas Mavericks. That's a bad matchup for Minnesota. They don't have an answer for the backcourt. We'll talk to Paul Sir about that. TR will join us a little earlier today. Also, we'll have Dave McCarthy, as well as Struddy. We'll talk to him about the defense for the Edmonton Oilers. What changes would he like? Systemically, how can they be better against the weak side stretch pass for the forward? Because they figured out in game 2. Didn't really seem to be an issue in game 2. But last night, it was an issue. Not necessarily leading directly to goals, although it was the play that led, not directly, but eventually to the game-winning goal. That's how the puck got in the zone. Spec and DVD will be by. We'll get your thoughts on our eWell inbox, 833-401-1440, 833-401-1440. Hey, Gregor, I'll disagree with you. It's called consistency. Stu isn't delivering enough. One and out's great save. The next lets in a stinker. Full stop. See, I don't think that's a stinker play. That's a really heads-up play. But if Connor McDavid is behind the net, makes a quick move and backhands it in off the goal, you're like, yeah, great play. That's not a terrible goal. A terrible goal is when you're fronting the guy, you got time, he comes down the wing and he just beats you. Last night, that's a bang-bang play down low. Could Skinner have played it better in a perfect world? Sure. But that to me does not fall in the category of a terrible goal. So I will, we can debate that one, but I'm just, I don't have an issue with goaltending last night for the Edmonton Oilers whatsoever. When you make that many big saves to keep your team in it, goaltending isn't the problem. Because I'll tell you, if he doesn't stop Marchman on that breakaway, it's game over. The Oilers, they're down 4-2 now. It's done. And then he stops Duchesne on a breakaway. What did the Oilers do in between then? Not very much. Not at all. So, and you know what? Officiating again, non-factor for me. How many power plays did Dallas get last night? This is not going to be a highly penalized series, and nor should there be. There's not a lot of infractions going on out there. Both teams are playing discipline. We're not even discussing officiating because it's a non-factor. Officiating has nothing to do with the Oilers deciding to dominate the first period and then take their foot off the gas in the second and third and have no goals in the third period. Like, I'm sorry. It's not the officials. Not at all. The officials aren't the ones backing in. The officials aren't why Darnell Nurse has allowed 18 goals in the playoffs. I shouldn't say allowed. Being on the ice for 18 goals against. Just not doing it. Officiating is like not even the top 15 storylines of this series. Not even close. Not even close. So the Oilers got to play better. Flat out. We've seen stretches. Now, I don't expect them to dominate an entire game. Dallas is a good team. But you can't go from the top of the mountain and then just come crashing down the other side like they did in the second period. You've got to absorb the push. Everybody knew it was coming. You just can't get trampled by it. So, Cons, what changes, if any, would you make for game 4?
You know what? I mean, you mentioned Broberg. That's one that I think might be a little enticing if you want to make that move. The decision comes who comes out. Up front, I kind of want to see Corey Perry get back out there. Just see if he can do anything. Obviously, we know the speed is a question, but in tight, I mean, I think he still has the skill to put the puck in the back of the net. Maybe brings a little something to the bench. You know, maybe, just maybe, something he says calms the tide a little bit, and the Stars don't score those 3 goals in the 3.5 minutes. So those would be the two that I would look at. Ryan McLeod's one to consider as well, but for me, maybe a change up on the back end and getting Corey Perry back out there. But Gregor, just kind of, we talked about it. I said it on this show. One of the things that worried me going into this series was those lapses by the Oilers. And the Vancouver Canucks have put one past you. I said it. The Dallas Stars could put 2 or 3. They did it yesterday. That kind of scares me with the Oilers game, but I think maybe just a voice of reason on the bench might not be a bad thing in Corey Perry to get him back out there.
Quick break. We'll come back. John Buccigross will join us also. We got lots of text to get to. 833-401-1440. It's a Gregor Show presented by PlayAlberta.ca.
0% for 60 months. I'm not kidding. Where? Well, it's GMC Buick, and it's GMC's Adventure Calls event. Pick out a new 2024 Sierra with finance rates as low as 0% for up to 60 months. If you're a Costco member, you get another $1,200 off purchase price on any 2024 in-stock Sierra. We're talking half tons, 3/4 tons, even 1 tons. If you'd rather an SUV,
Tuesday edition of the Gregor Show on Sports 1440, Oilers Nation YouTube and Facebook, streaming live on sports1440.ca. Thanks for joining us. I would guess you're a little frustrated after the loss last night by the Edmonton Oilers, a game in which they dominated the first 20 minutes. They're up 2-0. Things are looking good. And then boom, boom, boom. 3 goals in 3 minutes and 33 seconds. The lead evaporates. Yes, the Oilers tie it, but ultimately end up losing again. In the third period, they've been outscored 5-0, 2 empty net goals, but still 5-0 in the third. They don't have a goal in the third period, and every game's been close in the third period. You got to find a way. Got to find a way to get that goal, or more importantly, maybe get the goals earlier when you're having all the chances, so you have a little bit more of a lead. So, hey, playoffs are fun because they're coming right back at it tomorrow, and we will see how the Oilers do, and maybe how a few changes might be occurring in the lineup. Let's get to our big guest of the day, brought to you by the Female Super League, designed to elevate female youth hockey. The FSL will provide a platform for 12U and 14U girls to develop and improve their skills. Learn more at femalesuperleague.com. As we are joined now by John Buccigross from ESPN. John, welcome to the show. How you doing?
I'm the big guest of the day.
Yeah, you started out, buddy. First guest of the show.
That's quite an honor.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, now you got to live. Now you got to live up to it. No pressure. It's like the playoffs.
Oh boy,
right? You got to live
it
up.
Is.
And hey, just don't start the interview well, John, and then fade at the end, okay? Because that's a little too sensitive for Oilers fans right now.
I like that. I'm going to do that. Dump and chase pucks in deep. Let's go.
What do you make of this series so far for the Oilers and the Stars? What stands out to you?
Really how the Oilers are going in the opposite direction, and the Stars seem to be building their game a little bit. I thought Edmonton overall looked decent in Dallas. I thought they'd come home and really have a major statement, which they did early last night. And I was watching that second period, and it felt like it was like January regular season intensity suddenly. And this was, it was still 2-0. I was like, geez, what's going on? This is like January, February hockey. No one's hitting. There's no confrontations. And then boom, boom, boom. And then everything happened. And then here we are. And, it's a lot of hockey. They play every other night. And there's going to be times when they're just not there, especially when the guys, who have to perform a lot for them there's so many zeros on some of these point totals here in these 15 playoff games they've played. But even if you factor it out, we're 15 games, you just times 5, that's 75 games. That's just about, close to a regular season. And you do a little multiplication with some of these numbers, even for McDavid, that's a 20-goal season, for Evander Kane, again, it's a 20-goal season. Like, that's not going to do it in the regular season, and certainly not going to really do it in the playoffs. So some guys are pulling their weight, but, obviously they get so little support from the bottom that it really puts a lot of pressure on the big guys.
Yeah, well, the funny thing is, though, like Connor Brown has 1 goal and assist. Their depth guys have actually chipped. If you get a goal a game from your depth guys, you're fairly happy. To me, it's the Oilers. They get the lead, and then like their inability in the third period has been a problem. Now, I give Dallas credit. They're a really good team, but I think Edmonton, where their biggest issue has been when they've had the chances, they can't extend the lead, right? Like in game 2, they probably should have been up after the first period. It was tied. And then last night, you're up 2-0. The way you were playing, you got to you stretch that to 3, and maybe it's a different game. But it's, obviously you can't give up 3 goals in 3:33 either. So I guess my question for you would be, if you're the coaching staff, would you insert Philip Broberg, or is that too much of a overreaction and stick with your 6 veteran defensemen?
Well, they certainly would know best in practice and what he looks like and what his frame of mind is and what his total vibe is. Certainly he brings, some offense that, other people don't, let's face it. And if there's not going to be a lot of confrontations and pound of flesh, especially late, like what are those guys doing in the game? Like what value do they have? So, I mean, again, that's something they would have to see up close, and they would bet on a guy and trust a guy and do the players. And so that's something that I'm not, that close to think, geez, could he provide that zip? He certainly has things that others don't have that you would think would be a slight upgrade. And so that would be an interesting thing. And as we know, in playoff hockey, you do need to do things. you do need to change things up. And, Knobloch has done it a couple of times effectively. Henrique looked good last night. That was the proper move, I think. The goaltending situation, I think he's done the proper move. So overall, he's done the right thing. I certainly would trust him if he sees that. I don't think he's going to do it unless he believes in it, just to do it, and that's good. And I think that would be the case there if he does decide something different.
You move out to the East, John, and the Rangers, people say, oh man, they shouldn't be up in this series. Well, they are up in the series, and the goalie's part of their team, and he's a pretty damn good goalie. And they got guys like the Rangers. They should be tickled pink. They're up 2-1 in the series. And a few of their big dogs haven't really showed up yet. Panarin and Kreider, who are very much capable of doing it. Adam Fox, I think it's obvious he's playing a little bit banged up now, but you know what?
Right.
However you get to a 2-1 series lead, it doesn't really matter to me. There's no bonus points for playing well and losing in the playoffs. So, there's a lot of pressure on the Panthers. What do you make of how the Rangers have played? And do you buy in that they've been lucky, or is it just like, hey, yeah, their top guys have maybe been quiet, but that's a good thing because they've still found ways to win?
Yeah, I mean, let's face it, overtime games are random. We know that, how, some people score them and some legends have never scored one, and just they're very, very random. You don't know who's going to score and how they're going to score. And so the Panthers could be up 3-0, or they could be down 2-1, or they could be up 2-1. And as a result, they're down 2-1. But certainly they've had opportunities with, late situations, in alone, goals that could either put away a game or won in overtime that they just didn't. Overall, I think they are the slightly better team, like you said, especially with the Fox injury. Other than that, I don't really like the Rangers' D in totality, their defensive core. The speed of the playoffs is going to make it difficult for Panarin. He doesn't quite skate like he used to. So those guys can sometimes get lost, like a Pavelski and a Robertson can sometimes get lost. But then, bam, they get a situation where they're fed a guy from a guy like, Rupe Hintz, and then suddenly Robertson can be valuable, but on his own, he's not going to really do a lot because, again, he's not a dynamic skater. So when the game is fast, those guys can get lost. And I think that's what's happened with some of the Rangers. And, but I do think the Panthers, are the team that's built for this, and they win tonight, obviously. And then it comes down to that great Game 5 2-2 series, which we love. And like I said, going back to the Oilers Stars, it's about who's building and who's kind of going the other way. And sometimes they can go back and forth, and we know it can do that. But yeah, I do think the Rangers are a little fortunate. I think the Panthers do have the slightly better team, but the goaltender, this is a guy who we know is one of those guys that can steal it. Yep. And so far he's slightly stealing it. And I think the Panthers are, they're definitely kicking themselves that they're down 2-1 for sure, because they should be in this position tonight, up 2-1. And then this is their big game to go up 3-1, and then you just got to win 1 out of 3, which would be in their case. So it's a great game, a must game for the Panthers, and it's going to be great hockey tonight.
John Buccigross joins us from ESPN. Yeah, it should be an electric game for both of the next 2 nights. Switching to the non-playoff teams, it's announced Don Waddell is the new GM of the Columbus Blue Jackets. And, you look at Columbus and, it's an organization that really hasn't had a boatload of success, if we're being honest. Their owner's ultra patient, and, it looked like, okay, they finally got to the playoffs. They won a series, and you're thinking, hey, maybe they're going to go in the right direction. And that hasn't been the case the last few years for them. They still have a pretty good pipeline. Like, what do you make of the Waddell hiring? And, do you expect him to make a coaching change, or do you think he'll stick with his current coach?
Great question. Yeah, it is an interesting hire. It seems like a safe hire. Which is sometimes an okay thing. Sometimes these seem like kind of boring hires, I think, to people and to fans. But it is someone who's a proven entity. He's been around. He has the respect and the ear of other GMs and the big movers and shakers in hockey, which that's a good thing. You don't want to alienate yourself, whether it's a young guy or a new guy trying to find his way. It might turn people off. So overall, I think, it's kind of a bit of a safe hire. Will he keep the coach? I would lean towards yes, knowing Waddell. I don't know if he has a guy linked to him that he's been thinking about these last few years. My guess, he's going to stick with him to give himself some time to really evaluate everything. I like him, but you never know. Like I said, he might have a guy in his pipeline that he feels like this is the guy. Again, that's why you hire an experienced guy. He takes the temperature, he looks at the roster, he sees how the talent's shaken out, the age, the personality. That's why you bring in an experienced guy. This kind of coach this team needs. And that's what he tells himself, I assume. Now, if he's like not sure, does it have a guy who likes his initial interactions? Like, you know what? This is the guy. I think this is the right guy. He said the right thing here, and that goes along with what I'm thinking coming into this meeting. So these are fascinating things that are difficult decisions. It's why you pay these people to make the difficult decisions. But it's going to be interesting to see, and I think that's what it comes down to. You know, through his experience, look at the roster, maybe calling some guys perhaps, and just getting a temperature. This is what we need, and then boom, is this guy fit what I think we need on this team? And if not, then he'll make a change. If it's like, yeah, this is what we need, then he'll stick with them.
John, the Seattle Kraken going to Dan Bilesma, who of course won a Stanley Cup a long time ago, but hasn't been coaching the NHL for quite a while. It's what do you make of that hire? Yeah,
I think this is, Seattle has to start building their organization. They've had a few drafts now, 3 of them. Beniers went back to 37 points this year. That was unexpected. How good is Shane Wright going to be? Like, they got to figure out, do any of these second or third or fourth round picks in these last 3 drafts, are any of them going to hit? Like, occasionally a third rounder will, like a Braden Point or a Brad Marchand. Are any of them going to hit like that? Are they hitting? Are they developing? And so this is a guy who's been with some of those young players in the American League. So I assume they observe that. They see how he interacts. They see how he develops teams and individuals. And that's what they need. Like, they need to start going here and start to build a foundation. Vegas was kind of like this outlier in terms of how they built that organization, bamboozling other GMs and then stacking draft picks to bring in Stone and then bring in Eichel, and then boom, there they go. And, obviously Seattle doesn't have Eichel or Stone, and that's what they have to somehow find. So whether it's building their own guy or eventually swinging for a home run, at some point, Ron Francis is going to have to get bold and figure this out, because right now they're kind of a stale organization with no real zip.
Yeah.
And they charge a lot for tickets, and that fan base can be a little fickle. So they got to be careful there that thing can get sideways and boom, you're looking at 8 years like Detroit or Buffalo or something. Because right now it's teetering.
God, Buffalo wishes it was 8 years. They'd be like, hey, right. It's only 8. It's only 8, not 13. There's no.
Right.
Yeah, like Seattle. I never loved their strategy in the expansion draft. If I'm being honest, and so I think they're playing a slow play for them. So I think this is all part of their strategy. And we'll see how it pans out. But you're bang on. Like their strategy has no chance of success if your draft picks don't hit. And they haven't been around long enough yet to know if they will hit. So it'll take some time. And I'm kind of curious to see. I don't know if I see a massive difference. Like, they fired their old coach, who I didn't think coaching was the issue. Like, you can bring in a new coach, but if you don't bring in any more talent, it's not really going to matter who the coach is.
Exactly. It almost seems like kind of the same guy. I think Bilesville has a little more personality, a little more perhaps of a player's guy who can really, his interpersonal communication skills are probably a touch better. He has his name on the Stanley Cup, so he does have that. He played in the league almost 500 games. He does have that. He knows some of the younger players coming up who he's going to have to rely on. And, it's always cool when they bring a coach up from the American League, he's linked to some guys on that team. So I think they already feel empowered. So next year at training camp, if 2 of those guys make the team, 2 or 3, they feel empowered. Their coach gave me a chance. I'm going to play my life out for him because he gave me this National Hockey League chance. So it works both ways. It becomes a 2-year streak. That's why I think it's, when you bring guys up from the American League, whoever it is, they can have success because the young guys they're linked to, Bruce Cassidy, Sullivan, they're linked to those guys. And that can be the difference in a team, and having those 3-4 guys that makes the success a playoff team or a playoff winning team or a team that doesn't make the playoffs.
John Buccigross joins us from ESPN. One last one for you, John. When you look, this will be the final year coming up for the draft where, all the GMs and everybody from every team is going to be in. It'll be at the Sphere in Vegas. And then it looks like next year they're going to go to more of an NFL style where you'll still have the draft and the location, but there might be 1 or 2 representatives from a team. Maybe they'll go like the NFL and, teams will fly in a guy to call out the name or something like that. We'll see.
Right.
But what do you make of that? Do you think it's, is it probably good? Like it's the draft, and I know it's a big hype event, but maybe at times it's probably overhyped in the NHL because, 99% of the players aren't playing in your league for at least 1 year, in some cases 3.
Right. I mean, I've covered 3 drafts now. The COVID draft, we did it in studio in year 2 when it was in Montreal. Last year we went to Nashville, and hopefully I believe we're going to the Sphere this year to host it there. And I just kind of like it because everybody in hockey is there. You see, like last year in Nashville, you see them crossing the street, you run into them. You see all kinds of people you run into, and I really enjoy that. It's kind of that one time of the year where everyone kind of comes together in the hockey world. And again, that's my own selfish how I like it because it's good to create those contacts. And now I understand the budgets to fly all those people and put them up, and maybe that's part of it. But I kind of like it. I think it's kind of a neat thing. It's unique with all the people up on the stage. It's not like other sports. It's kind of like that family atmosphere, the awkward arms around the shoulder pictures that we always see, and putting on the hockey sweater. And so I kind of like it. I think it's kind of cool, homey kind of hockey thing, and I'm kind of sad it's going away. I think it's a neat little family kind of atmosphere that I enjoy.
John, really appreciate your time. Enjoy the rest of the playoffs.
Anytime, Jason. Appreciate it.
You betcha. There's John Buccigross joining us from ESPN. And Florida, big game tonight for them. They're down 2-1 in the series. You lose tonight, now you got to go into New York. Now, they did it last year. They were down 3-1 and won game 5 and 7 in Boston and 6 in Florida. So sure, you can do it. But the odds are not in your favor if you're doing it repeatedly, just like the Edmonton Oilers. They can't think they're going to win this series if they never score a goal in the third period. And it's the lapses that extend. Like, that Dallas is going to have shifts where they're going to be the better team. It just can't continue to be for long periods of time. Like last night, you had a complete collapse. Or the Oilers didn't have a shot. What were the shots? 12-0 before the Oilers got their first shot in the second period. Not only 12-0, but also 3-0 on goals. That's a monumental collapse. It can't happen. Right? Your top line's on for the first 2 goals, so you can't just be all your whipping boys. Last night was a complete team effort collapse. You want to look at the 4th goal, Skinner? Fine. You want to look at the CC Nurse, passing issues? Fine. You look at the first line, giving up 2 goals in span of 2 minutes in the second period. Yeah, that adds to it. There's lots of guys that can look and say we were collective as a team collapsing. Can't happen. They got to be better. There's some individuals for sure. We've talked about it off the start. Nurse got to be way better. Find a way to just play a game where you don't get scored on. Just one. Because it has been 11 consecutive games that he's been on the ice for at least 1 goal against 5-on-5. Only 2 games all playoffs, games 3 and 4 in LA, that he wasn't on the ice for at least 1 goal against 5-on-5. At some point, you got to put forth an effort that does allow you to get scored on. Quick break. We'll return. We got TR, Paul Sir, and more on the Gregor Show, presented by PlayAlberta.ca.
Wow. Get ready for a silly hockey fans. Your partner in power just skated onto the ice.
EWEL.ca, the new e-commerce website for electrical wholesalers Edmonton, is ready for the power play 24/7, 365.
UL skates to where the puck will be in 5 years. Now that's forward thinking.
Killer selection, slamming products from the best brands, and legendary service.
Don't sit on the bench. Get your account today at EWEL.ca and win that project.
Plug into your partner in power. Get an EWEL.ca account today.
Christensen Communities, the name in active adult living. Enjoy retirement living without compromise. At Christensen, we understand that each lifestyle is unique. We are committed to providing choice through optional dining, personal services, recreation programs, and care plans to suit your current and future needs. Enjoy maintenance-free living and build new friendships in a safe, independent community. Large suites with full kitchens and in-suite laundry, on-site amenities, and so much more. Find out more today about our communities across the province at cdlhomes.com.
Gather around the radio, kiddies, for the best time of day. It's Oodle Noodle time. Listen in this week as your noodle hero battles the barbarous Bobby Burger. Now sing along. You know the words. Oodle Noodle time. Oodle Noodle time. You know what time it is now. Get up and give me your best Oodle Noodle dance. Your best time of day is Oodle Noodle time.
This spring, the savings continue at the Brick. Take up to 40% off furniture and mattresses, as well as the chance to scratch and save an additional 40% off your purchase. Plus, you'll have the chance to win great prizes, including a $10,000 Brick shopping spree. Find amazing deals on kitchen appliances and save up to $400 on sofas, so you can prepare your ultimate game day snacks and then watch the game in style. Some exclusions apply. See in-store for details. The Brick, saving you more.
The Toronto Blue Jays are on Sports 1440. Every weekend, catch all the action with play-by-play announcer Ben Schulman. The Blue Jays, this Saturday and Sunday on Sports 1440. Edmonton's home for all things sports.
You got a go-to coffee spot, a trusted barber, even a lucky game day jersey. But when it's about looking your absolute best, there's only one name you need, Mr. Dirk. Family run since 1939, we're experts in crafting impeccable tailor-made suits and offering a wide variety of everyday styles. Pair that with personalized one-on-one fittings and the convenience of on-site tailoring. Mr. Dirk elevates your style game. Visit our Edmonton store or explore MrDirk.com. Score big on style with Mr. Dirk.
Hey, Leduc, can leading edge physiotherapy help you? Well, this is a question I face every day. Let me answer the best I can. Do you have a pain or injury to your toe, foot, ankle, knee, hip, lower back, middle back, neck, shoulder, elbow, wrist, hand, or finger? Are you dealing with a sprain, strain, fracture, tendonitis, bursitis, arthritis, dizziness, balance issues, surgery, whiplash, or headache? Okay, I can't list all the problems that we can help in leading edge physio in under 30 seconds, and I can't promise we fix everyone. But I can promise that we'll combine our experience, skills, technology, and hands-on care to give you an edge. Life shouldn't hurt. Find us at leadingedgephysio.com.
Mr. Ruther does a TED Talk.
Thank you for coming today. Let's talk about it. Pressure. Everyone in this room feels pressure. But let me tell you something about pressure. I'd rather feel too much pressure than not enough. You know why? Because low pressure often means you have corroded pipes, impaired water lines, or a calcified shower head. And who needs that? I'm Mr. Ruther, and this has been my TED Talk.
For an inspirational plumber, call Mr. Ruther.
The Egyptians swallowed a mixture of iron oxide and animal fat. The ancient Greeks made a paste out of pigeon droppings and horseradish. The Romans rubbed ashes and compost on their heads. Mankind has struggled with baldness since the beginning of time, but you don't have to struggle for another day. Hi, I'm Dr. Vance Elliott, and I've helped thousands of men and women get their hair back. Want to discuss all the modern options available? Go to drvanceelliott.com and contact us today.
.245. How are you? Jason Gregor, Connor Halley on Sports 1440, Oilers Nation YouTube and Facebook. The Oilers, short practice today. They will take on the Stars. Tomorrow, Skinner's going to start. That, to me, it's not even a question. But could see Ryan McLeod, and you might see Philip Broberg tomorrow for the Edmonton Oilers. So we'll see what they do on that front. In a series that isn't that physical, where I think puck moving and skating is a little bit more of an asset, I could see it. I could see him coming in. And then if he does come in, I'm interested in what the pairings would be. Because I think if he does come in, it's probably going to be Vincent Desharnais who comes out. And, what would the pairings be then? I could make an argument. I could play Kulak with Nurse and then play Broberg with Ceci. We'll talk Struds about that. See what he thinks. I know they haven't played a lot together. I know the Kulak maybe doesn't play the right side, but I like Kulak in the playoffs. So we'll see. We welcome into the show gentleman who stars in Shoresy season 3 that came out last Friday. 2-time author in the Newfoundland Sports Hall of Fame. Former NHLer Terry Ryan joins us. TR, how you doing?
I'm doing great. How are you doing?
Hey, I'm good, man. You played a lot. You've seen a lot of systems that, the Dallas in this series, they love stretching it. They like putting the weak side winger up the ice. And, not that they beat Edmonton off of any of their goals directly from that play where it was an odd man rush. Now, the fourth goal led to it because they stretched the guy and then the puck ends up in the offensive zone. A few seconds later, it's a goal. But, what's the best way? Because it seems that the Oilers, they're trying to defend it, but then they're getting stretched out too far, and that's allowing Dallas to penetrate them other ways.
Yeah, I know. And they had a couple of chances right off the bat in the first game doing that. I think they kind of took Edmonton off guard. And it does, but that's what it's designed to do. It's tough for that play not to spread out the ice, right?
Yeah.
It's just tough to narrow that down and to it's tough to combat against that. So at some point you've kind of got to go with it. But I just think there's easier ways. I mean, if you know it's going to happen, right, obviously, then one of the D's got to go back there. But I think the Oilers are getting obviously mixed up. It's going to create open ice, but they don't have that centerman or whoever it would be coming through. They're not clogging up the middle very well. So the stretch guy's going, and then what happens is that someone else, Robertson or whoever who can skate with the puck, gets it in the middle and is coming up and gaining the zone. And it's led to 3 that I've counted. It's in the series, eventually once they get the zone.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's tough. I mean, that's why, not everything is when to put players out there and motivating. Knobloch is a great coach. I believe that. But, things like this, there's a monkey wrench. Now deal with it. And it's clearly throwing a thorn into Edmonton's side, but that's what the playoffs are all about. It's easy enough, basically, right? You take your guy and there's going to be open ice, but you got to figure out a way. I don't think it's that hard. There's still 5 against 5. Like I said, they're going to come up the middle with speed, so you can combat that. It's not like the Oilers don't have any speed. They're just not using their brains when it's happening.
Well, to me, that the prime example of that is Darnell Nurse. Darnell Nurse is the best skating defenseman the Oilers have, except he's backing in far too often, right? If you press up on the guys, even if the guy gets a step on you, Nurse has shown everybody he's got really good recovery speed. So, but him just continually backing in isn't helping. So I don't know what message they say to him, but his tentativeness, I think, has really started to expose because his gap control is non-existent at times because he's backing in too quickly. It's like, well, I don't want him to beat me wide. I'm like, but very rarely does he ever get beat wide because he's such a good skater. So he should be pressing up.
Yeah, I know. Listen, I think you're onto something there. I don't know if someone got in his head and told him, but it's not only on the gap control. Did you see that final goal? I mean, it shouldn't have gone in from behind the net. It was this cheeky play by Robertson. But there's 2 guys, I don't know, you'd really have to slow it down. But I was watching the game and I really, really slowed it down. And for a second, he's on the other side of the net.
Yeah, he should have he should have started the play at the front of the net or at very least the middle, correct?
Totally. Now, once he gets in, I mean, the play that he makes, he goes down on one knee, and I can see where he's coming from, and it did go in from behind the net. But just things like that, he's puck watching, and he's completely out of the play for more than a fraction of a second. And he's a defenseman that's there specifically for that reason. And he's an experienced defenseman that makes almost $10 million a year. And at times, I know people are down on him, but he's only 29. It's not like he's over the hill. It's not like he's a rookie. This isn't even a guy like Desharnais in his second or third year. This is a seasoned veteran in the NHL playoffs, of which he has a lot of games. So to me, it's almost like he's overthinking it. And why is he overthinking it? I can't see Paul Coffey giving him those instructions. So I don't really know if he's in his own head and he's just unconfident, but it's unfortunate to see a guy in his prime that you rely on so much making obvious mistakes like that.
Yeah, well, he's got to find a way. It's simple to say, but play better. But you got to play better. It's just if you want to win the series, because if you don't, they might end up losing. Right? It's just kind of that simple. He's just flat out. Now there were some games early in the playoffs where he's on the ice for goals against. He had nothing to do with. So what? But he's still been on for 18, which is 6 more than any other defenseman. And some of those other D-men have had goals go in where they haven't been in. He just flat out, he needs to be better. I was looking through it today, TR. There's only been 2 games all playoffs where he hasn't been on for a goal against 5-on-5. It's just you got to be able to play a game where you don't give up a goal 5-on-5. You just have to.
And you don't want to be that, like, the numbers are starting to be so obvious that the other team can jump on it. You know, like, you don't want the numbers to be so obvious that people start going, put me out there against Nurse. Right? Then it can be a runaway. Then it can be a snowball effect. You get no confidence. Because that's not the way it should be. He's good. You and I both know that he can do the job here. There's just something in his head. It's obvious when it's Skinner or Campbell or somebody. But sometimes when it's a player, you realize that those same kind of things happen. It's easier to disguise, but it's starting to be a little bit more obvious than not when it comes to Nurse. Again, the sample size big, Jason, and I don't know. I didn't realize that he's only. Did you say only 2 games without a goal? Or
yes, two out of only 2 games all playoffs where he's been on the ice without a goal.
It's alarming. I don't know what to attribute it to.
Yeah, well, he's got to play better. It's just it's just that simple. So, you know what? I'm sure there'll be a conversation behind closed doors. Chris Knobloch is not a coach who's going to call out his guys publicly, and I don't believe in coaches needing to do that. Right? That's not his personality. Right? Rick Tocchet never called out individuals by name, but he did say, "Hey, we got guys who got to play better," and we saw some changes. I don't know if they would go that extreme to put Nurse in the press box, but I think you could have a pretty strong conversation with him to say, "Hey, man, like enough's enough." And I do wonder if they're consider putting in Philip Broberg in a series that isn't that physical. There's not a lot of penalties. And, where playmaking and passing, I think, becomes even more popular. Those might be better skill sets of Broberg right now than Desharnais. And I wonder if that's a conversation that they're going to have.
I definitely think it's a conversation they're going to have. It's weird timing on it because where you sit, being in that, if you do it now, is it panic button? And then, but if you lose and it's 3-1, now it does seem like that. Like the fact that we've gotten here isn't really an encouraging thing. The other side of that coin, though, it's 1 game away, right? Like if the Oilers hang on, like good God, that game started. I thought it was going to be 10-0.
Yeah,
I mean, for a good portion of the game, and then in the second period, it was like a completely different, not one team, a completely different set of teams were on the ice.
Yeah.
It was wild, and the Oilers were doing some things, I don't know, like almost like exhibition type moves, like stuff that I don't know. They didn't seem dialed in, but again, that's probably tentativeness. I mean, they did in the first period. You would think that by now, especially with a team that has a history, even if you're only looking at this year, even after the bad start they had, of like closing down teams.
Yeah.
Right? You're talking, they get up 2-0 in the first, and they could be up by 15 shots, and you're still not sure. Right?
Yeah. No, it's fair. It's it's the Oilers to me, and I've said this lots. There's the one element of their game that always still seems to percolate under the surface is their ability to beat themselves, and they can do it unlike a lot of other teams. Like Dallas in game 2, Edmonton's all over Dallas, but the period it's only 1-1 after the first. Right now, there's no score in the second, and that's just a deflection goal to get the game winner. But when they're down 16, outshot 16-4, the Oilers are all over them. They can't get the goal to go ahead, right? And Dallas doesn't gift them that goal to go ahead. Whereas Edmonton will be in very good position, and then they'll make a real glaring error, and boom, it's in the back of their net. And that still seems to be their Achilles. Like that's their weakness as a team. And man, they haven't figured it out now. So if they don't, like maybe they never will. But God, you sure have to think that at some point they might.
Yeah, I mean, well, they give you really, if we weren't following every game so closely and so emotionally involved in hockey and the Oilers in general, I think if you were just objective, sitting back, I think that's what you would think because they have a history of coming out of it. They're so streaky. Someone brought up to me the other night when the Oilers and Panthers, so it's kind of like the Panthers, they're way out playing the Rangers, but they're losing. I mean, I don't think it is quite like that. The game I watched with the Panthers, like the Rangers kind of got lucky. I mean, you need a goalie and you need you need to put it in the net. But the Oilers go from like dominating to looking like exhibition. And that's different. The Panthers, I don't think, showed many flaws. It just went in the net. It's 2-1 now. It could easily be the other way around. You can say that about a lot of playoff series, but here with the Oilers come on like they're the 87 Canada Cup Team Canada, And in the second period, they look like the 2023 Arizona Coyotes. Like, it's a really wild dichotomy of games that they show their fans each, or show anybody, show themselves each, like from period to period. We're not talking like from month to month or year to year. It's like, in the second period, you might see Jekyll or you might see Hyde. And it's weird that we're this far in with a successful team that's one of the last 4 in the NHL playoffs, which is not easy, that we're still seeing those tendencies to be so good and then so red rotten. It's wild.
Red rotten, underused term. I like it. So I'll ask you this, TR. If you were Knobloch, would you put in Broberg?
Yeah, I think I would. Yeah. Yeah, I do. First of all, we're the D as a whole, right? At best case scenario, I'm saying the defense, not overall, because the Oilers at times this year have really, I thought they really cleaned up a lot of their defensive play as a team.
Yep.
But on defense, right, like there's been a lot of flaws from a lot of different D-men, right? I'm not even trying to be what I'm saying. Not trying to pick out every mistake. I'm just saying, you're asking me about Broberg. Yeah, I think he's got enough experience now. If I'm him, if you're young, aren't you chomping at the bit to get in?
Oh, God,
right?
yeah.
You want to get in, and you're seeing all these, like, it encouraged me if I was a young player. And I was out there looking at, like, seasoned veterans going, you know what, I think I can do the job here. Right? It's not like you're asking them to go in when they're already in Game 7 in the Stanley Cup final, and all the D are playing well, and there's 2 injuries, and he's got to go in. If I'm him, I'm looking at it going, I can go in here. Like, it's not a necessity because there's an injury. Like, they might need me. And if it was a highly touted as prospect as he was, or he is, again, I was in that position. I didn't get that chance. I would have been chomping at the bit, as I'm sure he is. So I think there's every reason to put him in. And he's a pretty good player, right? And this also gives him a lot of experience. It's just like, I know you didn't ask me this, but people are asking me about Ryan McLeod.
Yep.
And I know a couple of times I've been down, and I think the other night when they took him out, I might have done the same. But now, I get messages like, it's almost like, oh yeah, like he's no good to begin with, good call. I'm like, no, not good call. I get it. He's a young player. I know he's a veteran now, but you get out there. There's nerves involved. In my mind, there's a couple of main reasons that he came out, and they're that he didn't get in the lane a couple of times to block the shot. A couple of times he took the easy route.
Yep.
And it's playoff hockey.
Yeah.
But I also have, I think he knows that. He's probably really embarrassed. I remember once, anybody listen, Boyd Olsen, I know he's listening. He's out there in Sherwin Park somewhere right now, and he's listening. He was on my team, as were a few other people from Edmonton that might be listening. 98, 99, sorry. And it was the same sort of position, man. It was my first year in the American League. And I did the flamingo. Like, a shot came through. I wasn't ready for the game. I thought I was. I got to the game. It was probably number game, I don't know, 68 of the season. I'm still a rookie, but I've got enough games. I shouldn't do that. And I guess I just wasn't plugged in. It was completely subconscious. The shot came through, and I lifted my leg ever so slightly. It goes under me and went in the net. What an embarrassment. But I can guarantee you, and it takes a while. It's not easy because you can say you're never going to do it again, but you got to prove it.
Yeah.
But I remember going, I can't wait. I got sat, and I should have gotten sat. I got sat for a game, and I definitely should have. But I remember coming back going, that's never, ever going to happen again. Like, I learned my lesson. If he didn't learn his lesson there, then he's never going to learn it. So I would put him back in at some point, probably now. And if it doesn't work, okay, now you're on the trading block. But I think people deserve a second, especially players like that usually give their all. They just might be tentative. They might make a mistake. It might not be in his nature to play like that. I think we've established that. But if he goes in, I believe that he'll learn from that. I don't think he's going to go in and be, hit everything that moves and start a fight. But I bet you if he's in that same position, he gets in the lane. There's a learning experience to all this too. So to go back to Broberg, yes, I think it can only benefit the team and himself.
Yeah, I would play McLeod too. I think they need his speed against Dallas, no question. You know what? I could put McLeod in and take Derek Ryan out, and I don't think it would be a big blow at all.
Yeah.
Jason Gregor, Terry Ryan with you on Sports 1440. We'll come back with Terry's Tale, Ryan's Rant, and more after Conman, a Sports 1440 update Brought to you by your Alberta GMC dealers, where you can get up to $5,300 cash purchase credit on a 2024 Sierra 1500 Denali Ultimate, plus eligible Costco members will get a $1,200 bonus on select trucks. Right now at your Alberta GMC dealer.
This is a Sports 1440 update.
The Columbus Blue Jackets have named Don Waddell as their GM and president of hockey operations, bringing in an experienced NHL executive to help turn around the franchise. Waddell joins the club days after stepping down as GM of the Carolina Hurricanes, with his contract set to expire. And the San Jose Sharks signed prospect Will Smith to a 3-year entry-level contract after one season at Boston College. The 19-year-old Smith led the nation in points with 71, with 46 assists and 25 goals in 41 games. In the NHL tonight, we've got game number 4. Rangers and Panthers meeting in Sunrise. Rangers lead that series 2-1. In the NBA, Mavs Timberwolves at 6:30. Dallas with a chance to complete the sweep, leading 3-0. In the majors, 1 game underway right now. Mets through the Dodgers 2-0 in the 4th. That's game 1 of their doubleheader to make up from the rain out yesterday. The Jays in action in Chicago, taking on the White Sox once again. First pitch set for 5:40. You also have the Nationals in Atlanta. Brewers host the Cubs. Royals taking on the Twins. Yankees in Anaheim. The Mariners host the Astros. Marlins take on the Padres. Memorial Cup action tonight. Moose Jaw, Drummondville. Both teams looking their first win out of the tournament. Puck drop at 7:30. And in the WNBA, you got the Mercury taking on the undefeated Sun. Fever hosts the Sparks. And the Storm in Chicago taking on the Sky. Coming up in hour 2 of the Jason Gregor Show, we'll hear from Dave McCarthy of Sirius XM NHL and Paul Sir of the Basketball Show. I'm Connor Halley. This has been a Sports 1440 update.
This is Sports 1440, a Stingray radio station broadcasting on Treaty 6 territory.
Download the free iHeartRadio app and listen to CKJR wherever you go.
Christensen Communities, the name in active adult living. Enjoy retirement living without compromise. At Christensen, we understand that each lifestyle is unique. We are committed to providing choice through optional dining, personal services, recreation programs, and care plans to suit your current and future needs. Enjoy maintenance-free living and build new friendships in a safe, independent community. Large suites with full kitchens and in-suite laundry, on-site amenities, and so much more. Find out more today about our communities across the province at cdlhomes.com.
Hi, Brad McCory here. It's May, and that means it's time for our biggest sale of the year. We're practically giving away. Take our 2023 Ram 1500 Classic that was $59,000. Now, just $44,000. Yes, we're giving with savings up to $15,000 and an available 0% financing for 60 months on our new 2024 Ram 1500 Sports. We really are giving away. Hey, why do you keep bleeping me? I was just saying we were giving trucks away during our biggest sale of the year. Head up the trail and see how easy it is to do business at St. Albert Dodge.
The playoffs are wild. We all know that. And this year, Play Alberta is making it even wilder. Make a deposit with promo code Gregor50 to snag a $50 free sports bet with your next deposit. Get ready for unbeatable promotions throughout the playoffs with 10+ odds boost on every Oilers playoff game. Score a chance to win a pair of Lower Bowl or even exclusive suite tickets for an Oilers playoff game just by making a bet on an Oilers playoff game at playalberta.ca. Bonus terms and conditions apply.
You're playing well sports on weekends. Saturday mornings at 9. Check out the Saturday Sports Setup, where we'll tee up what's happening on the weekend sports scene. Tune in Saturday morning at 9 on Sports 1440.
Hold on to your hockey helmet, Edmonton.
Welcome back to
serving up 60-cent wings that fly off the plate faster than a slap shot.
And Molson Canadian for $4.50.
OTR's TVs, they're so clear.
You'll see the puck better than the ref.
Plus, every game night during Edmonton's playoff run gives you a chance to be part of the Sack Attack.
You could win a Hyman jersey.
This is our year.
And our time to cheer.
Be a part of the legend.
On the rocks.
On the rocks. Jasper Ave 118th.
Excavators, loaders, lifts, compaction equipment, and more. Find the XCMG construction equipment you need. Available for rental or sale at Japa Machinery Group. Japa, helping build Alberta from the ground up for 50 years. Visit japamachinery.com.
The postseason is always exciting for hockey fans. But for GS, it's all about construction season. For 50 years, GS Construction has been laying the groundwork for your community, but they can't do it without the best team possible. GS Construction is scouting for experienced and motivated laborers, pipe layers or pipe layers helpers, lead hands, operators, top men or women, and a water and sewer foreman. Apply today and start working for the 2024 construction season. Visit gsconstruction.ca today.
CW Eves Troughing is busy. That's why they're looking for experienced troughers to run one of their trucks. To get paid top rates, contact CW Eves Troughing at 780-435-1492 or email info@cweves.com.
The Adventure Calls event is on at Chevrolet. Right now, get the 2024 Silverado 1500 RST at 0% financing for up to 60 months. Plus, eligible Costco members can receive a $1,200 bonus on select trucks. With an available 6.2-liter V8 engine and available adaptive cruise control, you can get off the open road and just enjoy the calm, quiet, scenic, great outdoors. Back to the truck! Visit your local Chevrolet dealer for details.
Uber Eats is now in your area. We've got it all, from your favorite restaurant dishes to groceries and essentials. And get $0 delivery fee on all your orders. What are you waiting for? Try Uber Eats now. Taxes and fees still apply. See app for details.
It's the one and only Eagle Double G.
Just after 3 o'clock. Welcome back. Jason Gregor, Connor Halley, Terry Ryan with you on Sports 1440, Oilers Nation YouTube and Facebook, streaming live as well at sports1440.ca. Some of you watching on Twitter as well as Instagram for Sports 1440. So we appreciate it. Thank you very much for tuning in. We're going to get to TR's Tales in a second. Lots of text line in 833-401-1440. Guys, you mentioned Desharnais. What about taking out Nurse? I would be to me, that's a pretty bold move by coaching staff. Could you make an argument that it's warranted? Probably. Do I think they would before Desharnais? No. I would be surprised. What about you, TR? Would you take out Nurse before Desharnais?
Like I said, if I had no stake in the game, I didn't know contracts, I didn't know experience, nothing. If I was just watching, I probably would. But given where we are, I think it's a bad message to send to him, to the other team, to everybody. You know, I think the furthest I'd go with it is really sit him down and, you know, let him know what I think of how he's been playing. And, you know, you got to pick it up. But I think it opens up a lot more problems than just having a flawed defenseman if you sit him out. But yeah, it's an alarming panic move that I think at this point you pay him enough. You just got to have confidence in him. This is what you got. This is your team, right? This is your team, and you can win. He can do it. And before you completely shake everything up, it would be last resort.
All right, let's get to TR's Tale / Ryan's Rant, brought to you by Action Electrical. 50 years in the industry. And of course, you heard earlier this year where they gave away a $15,000 solar system. They do lots in the community as well as get you a great deal. So if you want to use local, go to actionelectrical.net. Here is TR.
Okay, well, I was going to talk about Ryan McLeod, but I will leave it at that. And I think he's a good player. I think you put him in, you learn from this. And for people that are hating on people like that, you know, to sit back and eat your cheesies and watch the game with beer and soda or whatever you're going to do, eat your grease, and you're sitting there at the TV yelling at a kid that, you know, has to think on his feet, and it's not easy with 20,000 people and millions of people watching. I know you can say that for everybody in the NHL, but I just wanted to reiterate that I have confidence in that guy, and not everybody's built like Wendell Clark, but you can learn from your mistakes. Okay, so I'll leave it at that. Okay, well, I've had a lot of people lately sending me messages from Edmonton. You know, I get a lot from my podcast, but a lot now being on the Jason Gregor Show. A lot of people wanted to know, I guess, what goes into like a film day / film week. How long does it take to do an episode of Shoresy? What kind of goes on set, that sort of thing. So if you'd like, I can take you through, I guess, a standard setup of a day in Shoresy.
Okay.
Okay. So when we go, we generally, I know they're talking about season 4. I don't really know. Let's just say season 4 was to start in August. Let's just say, for argument's sake, okay? Then I would go, generally the people that are on the ice, especially involved in the plays, being all the main characters, at least the hockey players part of it, we go in a couple of weeks early, and we get we go over the stunts, which is basically the plays we're going to do. In this particular show, every show is different, but in our show, when it comes to the hockey, Jarrett wants it to look as authentic as possible, as do we, but I mean, he's pulling the trigger. So we'll go through a bunch of stuff, and it won't be exactly choreographed that you can't have any leeway whatsoever, but we'll have a good idea. And then, the fights, the hits, there's a lot that goes into that. So we go in a couple of weeks early and we practice those. There's that. Then during around the same time, you get your establisher shots and stuff, right? So an establisher shot, let's just say Shorzy's talking up Laura Moore in the doghouse, right? And generally when they're in there, it's only the two of them. So the establisher shot would be outside right before you get to the dialogue. Right outside, it'll just show a shot of the doghouse, right? Maybe some people walking into the rink, right? You might have some game day stuff of fans coming in. So you get those establisher shots during around the right time. So by the time we get the camera, a few things have already been established. So on day one, we'll get it. Okay, here's the script. Well, we know what the script is. Here's the order we're going to do it. Here's the schedule. This is when you're in. This is what. And generally, the hockey players are in on the same days. So anyway, we'll start at about 6 or 7 a.m. usually. Rare that, say it's me and Dolo, who are in almost every scene together. Joe Dolo, who plays my D partner, those that haven't seen it. So we're generally in every scene together. So, I'll usually link up with a guy like that, and maybe we'll read the lines. And if not everybody's there, I'll read other people's lines. You go over the lines, while you're getting your hair and makeup done in the morning. When I say makeup, not like TV, we don't wear the powder or anything, just like you might need your, the hair has to match every single day. So generally every 2 days we're going in, whether it's facial hair or whatever, you get that done. You get, there's ways to tidy up your face and whatever they're going to do. And there's continuity too, right? So wardrobe's there with everything you're going to wear that day. Now, when people ask how long does it take to do an episode, we generally do that. We go real fast in Shoresy. And it generally takes 6-7 weeks. Let's say 6 weeks outside of what I just told you about the preparing for 2. Then that generally means we're going to do a weekend episode, right?
Mm-hmm.
But the thing is, it's not in order.
Right.
So when we get there in the morning, we'll see the scenes we're doing. We might remember the lines, but then Dolo will go, remember now, this scene is from episode 4 and this one's from episode 1. So they'll have all your wardrobe there for each scene and in order. So we'll go out, we'll get our hair and makeup done, and then we'll put on the wardrobe for the first scene.
Okay.
Now, again, we're not in every scene, so we might go in and do that first scene. Boom, okay. And then we'll look ahead of time. If if Nat, Zig, and Migwan are in the next scene, maybe the next 2, then Dolo and I will go back to our trailer, and and some of the other guys, but I'm just always with him. And we'll go over the lines again, and we'll get into our wardrobe for the next scene. But that's why there's a person on set that's in charge of continuity, and he or she is really, really important because you're doing it out. So when you're watching it, you'll see like, okay, we're in the apartment. Now we go to the rink. Now it's after the game. Now, but that's all shot on different days. So if we don't look exactly the same, there's a clear flaw in the production, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we have to be perfect. So there's a lot. So the continuity girl or guy, again, will come in, and the wardrobe and the hair and makeup, and then you get going. And we generally go through lunch. Generally is 5.5, 6 hours. It has to be 5.5, 6 hours after you start. And then we'll go generally 12, 13, sometimes 15 if it's a nice day, but we always go 12 hours. And there are some days that we're in every scene. So those are the craziest, that you have to remember 26 pages of dialogue from 3 different parts of the show. That's what gets hard. And it is. And we on Shoresy, we definitely have, we attack more pages than anywhere else. I've worked on a lot of shows, Jason. I would say 40 at least at this point, some way or another, mostly in crew. But generally, if you're doing a scene, it won't go longer than 6 pages. I can't remember seeing one over 10. Well, on Shoresy, we frequently do them 25, 30.
Oh, okay.
So, you're remembering a hell of a lot more than is normally required. So there is a lot that goes into it.
I didn't know that you would film that many different episodes right on the same day. But in theory, I guess it makes sense because if you're filming from the rink, right, you're not going to go, okay, because it would too much of a scene moves around in different places. I mean, one episode has multiple different locations. So if you're moving around all the time, I could see why that would not necessarily be the easiest at times. So I would assume there's still some episodes where the majority of it's shot in one day. Right, because sometimes you have a lot of the scenes at the rink. Like some of your episodes are majority about hockey, right? So,
but you're not going to believe this, Jason. I know, but we have a rink set up in a warehouse. We have like those dressing room scenes. A lot of those dressing room scenes, I could elbow the wall that looks like concrete behind me. It'll fall down, and you'll see a bunch of bleachers and horses or whatever is that. We do it out in Capriol, not even in Sudbury. And then we'll go, okay, let's go onto the ice. But when you see us going onto the ice, that's 13 days later.
Really?
Right?
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that often happens. So, that's why we generally do all the hockey stuff first, and then that's out of the way. So then anything, and generally there's a hockey game, at least one every episode.
Right.
Right? So those have all been already shot before we even start. And then we'll go and so if we go to Capriol to do the dressing room, we'll do scenes from the dressing room scenes from 4 different episodes, and we'll do them all in a row and get those out of the way. That's why often, when we go, say 3 weeks later, Dolo will go, remember that time we were in the room and you said, let's get on the go buys? This is the next scene. He goes, we're starting. And the next comment, that's when I come in and say, let's go. Right. And I'm like, oh, okay. So, you'll help each other out. It's right there. But yeah, no, that is the challenge. I know they're so good at set decoration and all that you don't even notice a lot of it. We're not even in a rink. It's not even cold.
Awesome. Good stuff, man. I appreciate it. We got a lot of people saying, hey, man, that makes sense. They enjoy a little behind the scenes stuff. That's TR Sales, brought to you by Action Electrical. We'll return. Dave McCarthy will join us. We'll talk Order Stars. What moves would they make? Many of you chiming in. What move would you make? If you're bringing in would you bring in Broberg? And if you do, who would come out? 833-401-1440, as well is Ryan McLeod coming back in? I think he will. We'll talk about that and more on the Gregor Show, presented by PlayAlberta.ca.
Hey, sports fans, we've got a clear choice for you. At Crystal Glass, we provide customers with the perfect glass for any job. From home to auto and even commercial, installation or repairs, we're your team. Call 310-GLASS or visit crystalglass.ca. Crystal Glass.
I'm Ryan Nugent-Hopkins. And I'm Zach Hyman. And when we're not making juicy, sweet passes or having my goals disallowed, we're working for Legacy Heating and Cooling. Guys used to call me a plumber, and now they call you an AC repairman. Nice.
Hey, guys, you're not here to fix air conditioners. You're here to sing the jingle.
Oh.
Well.
Okay. Call Legacy. Call Legacy.
No payments and no interest for 1 year from qualified installers. Legacy Heating and Cooling.
Hold on to your hockey helmet, Edmonton. On the Rocks is serving up 60-cent wings that fly off the plate faster than a slap shot.
And Molson Canadian for $4.50.
OTR's TVs, they're so clear.
You'll see the puck better than the ref.
Plus, every game night during Edmonton's playoff run gives you a chance to be part of the Sack Attack.
You could win a Hyman jersey.
This is our year.
And our time to cheer.
Be a part of the legend.
On the Rocks.
On the Rocks. Jasper Ave 118.
Actions speak louder than words. Japa Machinery Group puts your construction plan into action with XCMG construction machinery you need. Available for rental or sale. Learn more at japamachinery.com.
The job isn't done until the last load is hauled, and having a semi-trailer out of commission is not an option. Whether replacing or adding to your convoy, Edmonton Trailer has a huge inventory of new and used semi-trailers, trusted by the gravel, logging, oil field, fluids, and freight industries. Find a trailer right for you online or at one of their 3 locations. for sales, service, parts, rental, and finance. When you're in it for the long haul, Edmonton Trailer.
Silent Rides is one of Alberta's premier bus charter companies with state-of-the-art motor coaches. We provide our customers with the safest and most reliable ground transportation. Our seatbelt-equipped buses have become the preferred carrier for many local sports teams, tours, corporate outings, and other various travel across Western Canada. For more information and to request a quote, contact Ted Nakamura at 780-940-0880 or visit silentrides.ca.
A solid financial plan is made up of more than just investments. Investments are an important part, but you need a more comprehensive approach. Vincent Pearson at Weird Pearson Akel & Associates Private Wealth Management understands that. He can help build a plan that includes retirement, estate planning, personal insurance, tax strategies, and yes, investments. Talk to him today and see the difference a real financial plan makes. Weird Pearson Akel & Associates. Call 780-988-4119 or visit weirdadvisoryteam.com.
You adore your Audi, value your Volkswagen, baby your Beamer. But some of that love fades when repairs take several days and tons of cash for the dealership to do their magic. Let Cochran's Automotive rekindle the flame. They'll professionally repair your import, usually in one day. Audi, BMW, Mercedes, Volkswagen, Honda, and Toyota. Cochran's Automotive will return her to mint condition. Open at 7 a.m. Let Cochran's Automotive repair your automotive air conditioning before things heat up. Cochran's Automotive. 780-452-5001.
For over 65 years, Dedham Ford has delivered the customer service and value that keeps Albertans moving. And that tradition continues with the all-new 2024 F-150. Lease one today with $1,000 down and pay just $299 bi-weekly, taxes included. That's the value you've come to expect from where cars always cost less. The F-150 $299 driveway lease, only at Dedham Ford in Wetaskiwin or at dedhamford.ca.
Watch me go one, two from my home. Just to myself to
.326. Welcome back, Jason Gregor. Connor Halley. Terry Ryan with you on Sports 1440, Oilers Nation, YouTube and Facebook. There's a practice day. Oilers, a very brief practice today. The other news, Troy Spector. People have been wondering where he's been. Spector, why he's not an option. Well, Spector has an ankle injury and is going to be having surgery. So his postseason is done for the Edmonton Oilers. So in case you're wondering. So, yeah, if they're going to make a change on defense, it will be Philip Broberg for the Edmonton Oilers. Now, let's go around the NHL, brought to you by McDonald's. And, you like it. Guess what? There's lots of options right now. You can get the chicken or sausage muffin for only, with the hash brown and a small coffee for only $5. Or it's that time of the year, baby. The Shamrock Shake is back for a limited time. Stop in. You can get it. Well, I'd call it the Grimace Shake, not the Shamrock Shake, but the Grimace Shake is here for a limited time. Try it out only on McDonald's. As Dave McCarthy from Sirius XM joins us. Davey, how you doing?
Good. What's going on, Jason? It's pouring rain in my neck of the woods here again.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Well, we had a little bit of rain last weekend, so everything's green here now. So that's nice. Well, it came up green last night on the ice. The Dallas Stars got absolutely obliterated for 20 minutes, and then they said, "Okay, don't worry, we'll come back." And then the Oilers, like I said at the start of the playoffs, my one concern about Edmonton is they still can be the best team at, I think, giving goals away. The Oilers are all over Dallas in game 2 in the first period, and it's only 1-1. Dallas doesn't give them a goal, right? Then last night, Edmonton probably could have been up 3 or 4-0 if Nugent Hopkins and McDavid buried one of their chances. They don't. And then Dallas comes back. The Oilers sit back on their heels and just allow Dallas to come in and had 2 chances to get the puck out of the zone on 2 goals. They didn't. And here they are. Like, for long stretches of the series, Dave, it's been pretty even or even advantage Edmonton, but they find themselves down because they just, they keep at times gifting goals. What have you seen?
Yeah, I agree with that. And that to me is a deep concern. The mark of a team that is championship caliber is a team that doesn't do that. There's a lot of teams that can be talented, but shoot themselves in the foot at times. And usually the teams that rise to the fore and ultimately win are the teams that shoot themselves in the foot the least. So it is a concern to me. 2 games in a row here, Edmonton was outrageously good in the first period. Should have put the game away, if not put it away, taking complete control of it. And as you pointed out, they either came away with last night with a 2-0 lead, which is certainly a lot of time left, 40 minutes, and the other night it was 1-1. It's almost like you squander starts that good by not building up a lead to the point where it should essentially take the soul of the opponent out of the game. They didn't do that, and then the ability for Dallas to turn the tables completely upside down to start the second in each game has been quite surprising, especially last night in game 3. Like, okay, you did it once in game 2, you recognize the pattern. You got to make sure you don't let that happen again. And they did. And you're right, they gave some goals away, and then ultimately you let the team hang around like they did. You go into the third, it's anybody's game, and your goalie lets in one that you probably can't let in, right? And otherwise, I thought Stuart Skinner was pretty good, but that goal for Jason Robertson to complete the hat trick midway through the third to give Dallas the lead is a terrible goal at a really crucial time that can sink you. So, yeah, a little bit concerning, I'd say, from Edmonton's standpoint.
Yeah, they'll have to be better, and I think I don't even know better. They just need to be more consistent.
Mm-hmm.
So here's my question for you: if you were Paul Coffey and Chris Knobloch, and you look at how the series is going, it's not an overly physical series. There's not a lot of power plays either way. It's very much about skating and passing. Would you put in Philip Broberg and take out either Desharnais and I guess maybe Darnell Nurse or CC1? Like, you're not taking out any of the other 3 guys, so
yeah,
do it.
Well, I mean, holy cow, if you scratch Darnell Nurse and the fact that
I don't think it's realistic, but
it's not realistic, but the fact that we're not getting laughed out of the building, that we're even discussing that, is in and of itself a concern. But I would look at putting Philip Broberg in, because I think you have to make adjustments based on the way the series is playing out, and it is not overly physical. It appears that Dallas is comfortable playing a series predicated on speed and skill. Like in the third period last night, for a good 10 minutes, I couldn't believe how open the play was, right? Up and down, back and forth. You don't see that oftentimes at this time of the year, let alone this year in the conference finals, where a lot of the games have been really low scoring, maybe even date back to the second round. So, if it's not a grinded out physical type of series, I think Philip Broberg is a guy that can help play the style that seems to be being played. So yeah, I would look at putting him in, probably at the expense of a Desharnais, just because what he brings, while it's useful, it doesn't seem to be what is making the biggest difference right now. And I think a guy with the skill and the ability and the ability to move the puck, transport the puck like Philip Broberg has, could be an advantage, especially if you play him down the lineup. You can get some favorable matchups on home ice here in game 4 for Edmonton. Chris Knobloch has the ability to better protect him and put him into positions where he feels he has a chance to succeed and not get in a tight spot if he's on the road. So I would look at it for sure in game 4, because I do think that's the way the series is going here.
Dave, good to talk to you. I'm curious here now. I'm going to switch gears and go to the other side for a second. So the Rangers are coming into tonight, I think, really lucky to be up 2-1. I know that happens in the playoffs, but even if we're just going on last game, right? I thought Florida played better. Now, Florida have a real physical team. The Rangers are no slouches in that department either. Florida, I think their main players are a little bit more physical, and I do think they are, even though you got the Rempies and the Trubas, and there's guys that work hard, and even Lafreniere taking it to the net, but he's not really a killer, but they're playing hard. But what would be your approach tonight? Do you want to wake the Panthers back up? Do you want to come right at them? Someone asked me that today, and I really didn't have an answer for them. What would be your game plan tonight if you're the Rangers against the Panthers?
Yeah, I do agree, Terry. I thought they were no good in game 1, which surprised me. I thought game 2 was their best game of the series, and I thought they were fortunate in game 3 that they were able to come out of that one with a win. That one I thought could have gone either way, and they got the break in overtime. So, look, I would never... If Florida's willing to lie in the weeds and not get overly physical, I would never go out there with a big stick, so to speak, and poke in the tall grass, see if I can stir anybody up. I don't think that does you any good. But I would come out aggressively, certainly, and play the game that the Rangers would like to play and try to set the tempo early. I think a lot of their top guys, they're obviously guys that like to play with speed and skill, but it comes down to fundamentals along the boards, right? Make sure you win your puck battles. Make sure you're being assertive. Make sure you're taking the puck to the net. I wouldn't go running around looking to catch a guy, a half second after the play just for the sake of a big hit. But when it comes to loose puck battles, absolutely, I think they have to be assertive, which they were not in game 1. I thought in game 1, they really dipped their toe in the water and just sat back and let Florida take the play to the Rangers. And they didn't have any success that way. But like that Lafreniere goal that you referenced, Terry, that's a perfect example. I mean, this is a big guy, right? He's a big guy. His skill set lends toward getting to the net. So, if you can play like that, with assertiveness and aggressiveness, get the puck to the net, you can draw penalties. You can score goals from in front, as Lafreniere showed. I think that's what will make the Rangers successful. And if they can draw some penalties, anytime you can put that power play to work, is a good thing as well. So it's interesting. I don't know what my feeling is going into this one. I feel like ultimately this series will go long, 6 or 7. But if you're the Rangers and you want to say what you said, maybe we are fortunate to be up 2-1. Well, now you get greedy, because I think they've only really played one quality game 2 in this series. Come out with another quality game, and you can find yourself up 3-1 and in the driver's seat heading back home to MSG for game 5.
And big hits, maybe you can both chime in and help me out here. I don't want to beat a dead horse, but 2 nights ago, Trouba got suspended, or he got suspended, or not suspended, got fined for that questionable elbow. You guys know the play I'm talking about, right? Unless you live on Mars. So explain to me how you can review that, and it can be a 2-minute penalty, and then you get the maximum fine allowed. Aren't you admitting with the fine it was a 5? And haven't you already reviewed it? If the officials from your league have already reviewed it, why do we even go to the fine part of it? To me, it just leaves such an opening for... It leaves one to wonder whether there's certain rules that are different in the playoffs, even though they're kind of are. I mean, Trouba is an important player who's been suspended more than once for that same thing. Now, I'm not saying I'm rallying behind his suspension. I'm just saying, you've reviewed it and you said it was a 2. Fair enough. Let's move on. And now the next day there's a suspension, a fine. Correct me there. Can you explain that to me?
Well, Gregor, go ahead.
Well, to me, it's simple, TR. They're saying, hey, it's not a penalty. The fine there, I think, is probably for, let's make it look like, we care about it, but we don't. The thing is, if you watch the replay in that game, Rodrigue tried the exact same thing on a Ranger player and missed him, right? He flipped his elbow out. He missed him. So if you're fining for the intent, not the action, then Rodrigue should have been fined as well. They're not suspending him afterwards. They look at it, the rules, the refs, and I thought the refs, it was the right call. It's not a major. It's not suspendable. The fine is just like it's $5,000 for a guy who makes $8 million a year. Like, let's be honest, as Paul Maurice joked, they got to pass the hat around to do it. It's kind of insignificant, but to me, it's irrelevant. To be honest, I don't.
It's irrelevant from his pocketbook, but you're still admitting that you screwed up then.
Well, you're admitting they don't like the intent. I don't think that you get suspended. I think sometimes maybe for the action itself or the result of the action, but flipping out your elbow, it's like it's a reaction. I didn't think it was even that hard, to be honest, right? Like looking at where he was at and he was kind of reaching like that wasn't delivered with a lot of force, in my opinion.
No,
I'm not on the receiving end.
I agree with you from that point of view.
Yeah. So it does. You know what? I think what it does is it. You're right. It has some people saying, "Well, which one is it? You can't be half pregnant." So you're either
especially if you've already reviewed it.
Yeah.
If you didn't already do that on the ice, I could see it.
Yeah, that's fair. I never even thought about that one. So it's a good one.
Right. Anyway,
Davey, what do you make of Dan Bylsma coming back now for the Seattle Kraken? Obviously, him and Ron Francis have a connection, and this is definitely a hire that looks like, hey, guy who's. You know what? I'll give him credit as being, he obviously loves coaching. He's been coaching the American League and enjoys it there. But what do you make of this hire for Seattle? And I guess I'll say, does it really matter who their coach is if they don't get better players?
Well, that's the fact of the matter. I thought they overachieved last year when they made the playoffs and ultimately beat Colorado to win a playoff round. I thought they regressed to the mean a little bit this year and came back more toward what they were. And they still had some good spurts during the season. They won 8 games in a row at one point, but they ended up falling well short of the playoffs. Look, I think Dan Bylsma is a good choice. He spent 2 years in the American Hockey League and has been extremely successful. I think 715 winning percentage in each of the past 2 years in the AHL, and he's still coaching now in the West Finals, looking to win a championship in the AHL. And as a guy who's won a Stanley Cup in the National League in the past and has coached for quite some time in the NHL. So it's not like you're bringing in a young AHL guy with no experience just because he's done well in the AHL, and now you will see what you have at the NHL level. Dan Bylsma was a finished product, so to speak, as a head coach who had to go down and essentially rebuild his coaching career. And as he said today, rediscover his love of coaching, which he clearly has. So I like the fact that he's getting another opportunity because you're bringing in a guy that's had a lot of success within your organization and has had a lot of success in the National League in the past. And over the last 7 years, undoubtedly, he, to earn this opportunity, has evolved and morphed and changed and improved as a head coach. So I do like the hire. But yeah, I mean, Seattle needs to do some work on the lineup as well. I don't think they're nearly good enough in that regard. I think they need some more game-breaking type players. I think you look at Matty Beniers, he was really good in his rookie year when they made the playoffs. He regressed big time last year. So maybe there's, if you come in and you're up and then you dip back down, maybe next year, if you come back up a bit, there's some internal progression and improvement there that'll certainly help. But they need to be looking at adding some more quality players to the lineup. I think their D is in decent shape. But I still think, everyone could use, a top 3 or 4 D man, but they need some guys that can shoot it in the net a little bit more consistently outside of Jared McCann. And if Beniers can get his play back closer to how he looked as a rookie compared to last year, that would certainly help as well.
Davey, always good to catch up with you, man. Enjoy the conference finals, and we'll chat with you on Sunday.
Okay, sounds good, boys. See you.
There you go. That's Dave McCarthy from Sirius XM. Jason Gregor alongside Terry Ryan. TR, we thank you for the hour today. It was quick, it was fast, and unlike the orders, you finished strong. So that's good.
Hey, quick, fast. That's what she said. Okay, thank you very much, boys. Thanks for having me. Thank you, Connor. Thank you, Jason. Thank you, Edmonton. And we'll talk in just a couple of days.
You betcha. That's Terry Ryan. joining us for an abbreviated. Usually he's on for 2 hours. Had to do one today. He's got some prior commitments, so he'll be back on Thursday. As we'll be finding out, are the orders going to be tied or going back to Dallas in desperation mode. I said it earlier to start the show. I really believe that tomorrow night is, well, it's not officially a must win. I view it as a must win. You go down 3-1 to Dallas, having to win 3 straight, 2 of them in Dallas. I don't like the odds for the Oilers. I think tomorrow's a huge game for them. They've shown they can play with the Stars for long periods of time in the series, and at times they can dominate Dallas. They just have to be. Last night, I thought there was way too many defensive miscues. Look at the first 2 goals. Right, which is the Oilers' top 2 lines are on the ice. Go look at Nugent Hopkins on the one, look at McDavid on one, look at Ekholm on one. Like, that's why to want to just pick out Stuart Skinner because of 1 goal, it's you're excusing everybody else. I'm sorry. Why is it okay for the other guys to make glaring errors in the first period? But you know what? And by the way, Robertson, that's a really smart play. Stuart Skinner said, hey, maybe I could be a little bit more patient on it. Right? Wait for him to make the first move. Easier said than done in the moment. I get it. But there's a lot of other key areas from other guys. Right? We talked about it last hour a lot. Darnell Nurse, he's got to find his game, man. I'm sorry. People are texting in, yeah, but look at Stuart Skinner's save percentage. Well, last I checked, all of the Oilers are playing behind the same goal, are playing in front of the same goalies. Right? Darnell Nurse was on the ice for 60 goals against 5-on-5 in the regular season. He's been on for 18 already in the postseason. It's not even close. Like, he's on pace to be on for 108. Oh, sorry, not 108. 90 at this stage. Not good enough. Okay, it's not good enough. It's got to play better. You log that many minutes, you need to play better. Full stop. Other guys do too, but he definitely has to. You can't just essentially go into a game knowing that the other team's going to score at least 1 goal with you on the ice every game. Can't happen. It's been 11 straight games. It's 13 out of 15 games. He's been on the ice for at least 1 goal against 5-on-5. It's got to be better. Quick break. We'll come back. And hey, you're not the only one suffering a little heartache. We'll talk about another fan base with some major heartache. Next on The Gregor Show, presented by PlayAlberta.ca.
The playoffs are wild. We all know that. And this year, Play Alberta is making it even wilder. Make a deposit with promo code Gregor50 to snag a $50 free sports bet with your next deposit. Get ready for unbeatable promotions throughout the playoffs with 10+ odds boost on every Oilers playoff game. Score a chance to win a pair of lower bowl or even exclusive suite tickets for an Oilers playoff game just by making a bet on an Oilers playoff game at PlayAlberta.ca. Bonus terms and conditions apply.
Building a new home? You may not need a residential elevator yet. But in the future, a RAM elevator could provide greater accessibility and even make your house more appealing to buyers. So book a consultation with RAM Elevators and Lifts and find out how to strategically place closets to save space that will accommodate the addition of an elevator when you're ready. Plan for the future in your new home with grounded simplicity, elevated design. Learn more online at trustram.com.
Heavy hauling in the worst of climates can be dreadful. Take the stress off the job with AccuSteel Heavy Haul Trailers. They redefine heavy hauling with premium heavy haul trailers designed, manufactured, and battle-tested in the harshest of conditions. And if your heavy haul trailer has issues, their full service and frame inspections will tell you exactly what's wrong and why. They take the guessing out of repair work with quality engineered frame repairs that get you back working quick. Discover the difference at AccuSteel.ca.
For 50 years, GS Construction has been laying the groundwork for your community. But they couldn't have done it without building their employees from the ground up. Many of GS Construction's employees started without any industry experience at all. But because of such programs such as GS's Next Person Up, they've gone on to become valued members of the team. If you want to join the team as a laborer, pipe layer, or pipe layer's helper, lead hand, operator, top man, or woman, or water and sewer foreman, visit gsconstruction.ca.
Your love for strawberries is very passionate, you say. Just wait till you get your next taste of Booster Juice. The new Strawberry Blush smoothie made with strawberries, bananas, vanilla oat, and vanilla frozen yogurt will make you fall in love. And there's no tea like the Strawberry Serenity Teaser, a blend of strawberry juice, green tea, and honey. And for a tasty treat to pair perfectly with your berry obsession, the Strawberries and Cream Booster Ball has returned like your favorite dream. Visit a Booster Juice near you today or download the Booster Rewards app.
The Adventure Calls event is on at GMC. Get the 2024 Sierra 1500 Elevation at 0% financing for up to 60 months. Plus, eligible Costco members can receive a $1,200 bonus on select trucks. With Sierra's available 5.3-liter V8 engine plus more cargo bed volume than any competitor, you'll have everything you need to take on any project this season, like building a brand new doghouse. That's a lot of wood. How big is this dog? Visit your local GMC dealer for details.
As a business owner, you know that good business is based on good relationships. So imagine, how would you feel if your commercial insurance was driven by people, not products? At High Street Insurance, we've been serving Canadian businesses like yours for 10 years. People, taking care of people. We take the time to learn about your business so we can ensure that your insurance coverage is finely tuned to the nuances of your commercial situation. Good protection starts with understanding you. Reach out to us today at highstreetinsurance.com.
Uber Eats is now in your area. We've got it all, from your favorite restaurant dishes to groceries and essentials. And get $0 delivery fee on all your orders. What are you waiting for? Try Uber Eats now. Taxes and fees still apply. See app for details.
I love it. Welcome back to the Gregor Show with Connor Halley, presented by PlayAlberta.ca. Use the promo code Gregor50, that's Gregor50, and get a $50 free play. Only until the playoffs are over at PlayAlberta.ca. Now, let's get to the basketball report brought to you by Legacy Heating and Cooling, home of the no interest, no payments for 1 full year on your AC unit. You're going to stay cool all summer, and you're going to love it at legacyheating.ca. Paul Serve from the basketball show here. Week ends every Saturday morning, 10 a.m. on Sports 1440. Join us, and Paul, I think you know a thing or two about, like, the Oilers fans are frustrated, but they're still in the series. You're a Timberwolves fan, and man, after how they played the last series, you're pretty fired up, and then they come into this series against the Mavs, and man, it just looks like it's just been a matchup nightmare for them. They don't have an answer for the backcourt of Doncic and Kyrie.
Well, I don't have anything more to say, Jason. You summed it up all right there. That was perfect. That's exactly right. It is a matchup nightmare. Stan Van Gundy calls Kyrie and Doncic the best backcourt ever in the history of the NBA. I don't know if you'd have to sit down and really argue that point. I think come up with certainly a better, more high-powered offensive backcourt. They've been magnificent, and I think if there's a real outstanding feature of this NBA playoffs, and I would apply the same to Boston as I would to the Mavericks, is the shot making and clutch situations down the stretch. Because when you look at where the Timberwolves and the Pacers could have been, the series could have been 2-1 in their favor, not easily, but without stretching it at all. It's just that both the Mavericks and the Celtics closed out the games so well. So, to dive into the Timberwolves Mavs matchups, I've got some thoughts about that, but it really comes down to this: our strengths are better than your strengths, and that's really the difference in this series.
Yeah, no, and that's totally valid. Like, and you are who you are as a team, right? Like maybe they can win a game, but they just could you see any adjustments that they could make to slow down that backcourt?
Kidnapping is one. I think that would be about the only one I can think of that would slow them down. Because they haven't had. No, I say that with a bit of trepidation. I've said all year I think Chris Finch was the coach of the year. Well, he certainly hasn't been the coach of the series. He's been thoroughly outcoached in this series. He and his staff. The defensive adjustments are head scratchers for the Timberwolves. Like when you look at the spectacular shot in Game 3 that Doncic hit on Gobert, that we all saw the profane-laden tirade after by Doncic towards Gobert. But how do you end up with Gobert guarding Doncic 45 feet from the basket? I don't understand the Timberwolves' defensive strategy, and so. I think the combination again of shot makers and playmakers in Doncic and Kyrie, role players playing their roles beautifully. They've exposed the Timberwolves' weaknesses. And here's another key: the primetime players have been anything but primetime for Minnesota, particularly Anthony Towns. He's been horrific. Ant was great through 3 quarters the other night, and then he did the LeBron James fourth quarter exit. And it was just mystifying.
You look at Boston and Dallas now, because let's be honest, 153 times in NBA history has a team had a 3-0 series lead, and 153 times that team has won the series. So, sorry Minnesota, sorry Indiana,
it's gonna happen.
It's not going to happen. So now both of these teams, Paul, if they both end the series in 4, there's an 8-day break between that. So now I know a team would never lose on purpose, but do you think 8 days is too long at this time, or the fact that it would be equal for both teams, well, it'd be 8 and 7, that it wouldn't necessarily matter?
I don't think it would necessarily matter. I think there'll be some rust. I don't think either team is going to be susceptible to losing the momentum, but I know Minnesota's going to come out and have a bit. I would expect a pride-filled effort that they're going to be out there trying to win at least one from Dallas. But yeah, 8 days is a long time off, but that's the way the cookie's going to crumble, given the way the series are going, with Indiana being closed out in 4, and they could have been up 3-1 just as easily as out in 4. And Minnesota, good chance they're going to be out in 4 as well. So long layoff, but it'll be a fantastic offensive showcase in the finals of the best backcourt in the NBA now against the best forward tandem in the NBA right now in Brown and Tatum. So in terms of shot making, that should be a magnificent series to watch.
How do you think Boston matches up against Dallas's backcourt?
Well, Derek White is an elite defender for Boston. So he has the ability to do things that they talk about McDaniels from Minnesota. He was a second team all defensive player, but he looked like anything but that in this series. But there again, Luka, I don't think will let anybody look all NBA on the defensive end. He's just going to own you anyway. But I think Derek White, he's such an elite defender that he could be more disruptive than anybody the Timberwolves have. So maybe they have a chance at getting Luka and Kyrie a little bit uncomfortable out there. So I think that's an interesting matchup. As far as at the forward rank, Dallas has a great defensive front court. And so I just look for it to be just a great series all in all. And it's going to be, if we have any kind of shot making between these two teams like we've seen in their 2 semifinals, my gosh, we're in for a treat.
Yeah, it would be good. The Stingers, Paul, season is underway for the Stingers. What do you make of their early start?
Well, great win against Calgary. They look good. They've added a couple more pieces, and they're on their way out to Ottawa now. They're going to have 2 games over the next couple of days, and they're back on Sunday for the home opener on June 2nd, 4:00, over at the hangar in Hall D over in the Expo Center. I like their team, but we'll know more after a couple of games. Early stages of the CEBL, you don't know. But one impression I have from watching some of the games is that the overall talent pool in the league is up. So the Stingers are certainly more talented than last year. So I think it shapes up to be a real interesting season.
Yeah, well, they play back-to-back starting tomorrow. So they got 2 on the road tomorrow, and then they have their home opener this weekend. So a good stretch for them to see. I know they had some guys who weren't dressed in the first game, so they'll have some new bodies in. But game 1 looked good for sure for them. So I'll be curious to see what their roster shapes up. So this will be a good 2-game road trip for the Stingers to see how they shape up coming home for their home opener on the weekend, which I'm hearing is ticket sales are going very well, which isn't surprising to me. The Stinger fans quite like the game. It's a great atmosphere. If you haven't gone, I'd highly recommend going.
100%. Couldn't agree with you more. And by the way, Jason, Minnesota, while it's Dallas is 1A for me in terms of my favorite team, because the lead assistant coach for the Mavericks, Sean Sweeney, was a high school teammate of my son Steve's. I coached Sean in shooting quite a bit, and he's going to be one of the guys that's going to be mentioned a lot for head coach in the NBA coming up, and he's the guy that designed the defense that's given the Timberwolves so much trouble. So, it's not hard for me I'm not unhappy with Dallas as well. I would have loved to see the Timberwolves there, but happy for Sean.
Wow, that's a great little story. Awesome stuff, Paul. We'll tune in on Saturday at 10 a.m. For what would be a jam-packed show, likely a little preview for the upcoming NBA Finals, some Stingers talk, and more.
And lamenting the loss of the great Bill Walton. We'll have some reflections on that. So, yeah, it's going to be a great show. Thanks so much, Jason.
You betcha. That's Paul Sir, host of the basketball show every Saturday, 10 a.m. right here on Sports 1440. Coming up after 4 o'clock, Struddy is going to join us. We'll get his breakdown on the Oilers defense and, what needs to be better. Obviously, Nurse got to play better. I think their whole team defense needs to be more consistent in crunch time. And I think it sounds strange, but specifically in Nurse's case, I know we always say he tries to do too much, but he's not good when he's passive. And when you're constantly giving up the line, you're backing in, you're passive. He's the best skating defenseman they have. If a guy gets a step on him, lots of times he can recover. Right? He moves around very well. Get up on guys. That to me, all I would do if you're Paul Coffey, which I know he's done, I would just show him videos of Darnell. Here's your best. When you stood up this guy, stand. Oh, look, did they get by you? Yeah, they got to step on you for a while, but then you always recover because you got great recovery speed. So get up and let's get a reset in your positioning. Instead of being on the far side, be in the middle or the near post. Now you're just closer to the play. So, because they're not going to sit him out. That makes no sense. But I could see them making a change, Broberg to Desharnais, just because there's a different skill set in this series. This series is lots more about puck moving and skating than it is about physicality and even penalty killing. Like Desharnais has been unreal on the penalty kill. He's become an elite penalty killer. There's not a lot of power plays in this series. So, just like I said about Derek Ryan, he wins faceoffs, great. But he's playing like 7 minutes. Right? You're not really using him 5-on-5. So I wouldn't be surprised if you see Ryan McLeod back in tomorrow as well. Let's get to the Con Man, a Sports 1440 update brought to you by Fountain Tire. Well, right now you can save up to $200 on a select Ford tires, including Goodyear, at any local Fountain Tire. Book your appointment today at fountaintire.com.
This is a Sports 1440 update.
Columbus Blue Jackets are named. Don Waddell is their general manager and president of hockey operations, bringing in an experienced NHL executive to help put around the franchise. Waddell joins the club days after stepping down as GM of the Carolina Hurricanes, with his contract set to expire, and the San Jose Sharks have signed prize prospect Will Smith to a 3-year entry-level contract after 1 season at Boston College. In the playoffs tonight, you got Rangers and Panthers meeting in Game 4 of their best-of-7 series down in Sunrise. Puck drop just after 6 o'clock. Rangers lead that series 2-1. In the association, it's the Mavericks looking to complete the sweep over the Timberwolves. Tip-off 6:30 of winner of this one. It goes to the finals where they'll meet the Boston Celtics. In the major leagues today, the Jays are in action, taking on the Chicago White Sox once again. First pitch set for 5:40. 1 game underway right now. You got the Mets and Dodgers. Game 1 of their doubleheader. Top of the 8th right now. New York leading 2-0. Later today, Red Sox and Orioles. You got the Tigers, Pirates, Cards, and Reds. Rays host the Athletics. Nationals head to Atlanta. Brewers host the Cubbies. Diamondbacks take on the Tigers. Angels host the Yankees, Astros in Seattle, and the Phillies taking on the San Francisco Giants. In the Memorial Cup tonight at 5:30, 2 teams looking for win 1 of the tournament. Moose Jaw up against Drummondville. And from the NFL today, the Houston Texans signing wide receiver Nico Collins to a 3-year contract extension worth $72 million. 52 of which is guaranteed. Coming up in hour 3 of the Jason Gregor Show, we will be joined by former NHLer Jason Strudwick and another edition of 5 Questions. I'm Connor Halley. This has been a Sports 1440 update.
Sports 1440, Stingray radio station. CKJR broadcasts from West Edmonton Mall and Wetaskiwin.
Download the free Stingray music app and listen wherever you go.
The job isn't done until the last load is hauled, and having a semi-trailer out of commission is not an option. Whether replacing or adding to your convoy, Edmonton Trailer has a huge inventory of new and used semi-trailers, trusted by the gravel, logging, oil field, fluids, and freight industries. Find a trailer right for you online or at one of their 3 locations. For sales, service, parts, rental, and finance, when you're in for the long haul, Edmonton Trailer.
A full-service provider of heavy haul transportation and rigging at the highest level. Next Gen Transportation.
We're developing new and innovative ways to transport oversized and overweight equipment to remote and challenging locations.
Our Next Gen team leads with a wealth of experience and expertise. But most importantly, we put safety first so everyone gets home safely.
We also take great pride in supporting our local community programs and teams. Good luck to everyone this season and in the year ahead.
Visit nextgentransportation.com.
I'm making a change. Broberg to Dayhart.
Your tournament at the Ranch Golf and Country Club.
As one of Alberta's top tourney courses, the Ranch makes hosting fun and easy for any group or business. No matter how unique or unusual, they'll accommodate your vision for an event no one will soon forget.
Start planning your tournament today at their beautifully landscaped course on the outskirts of West Edmonton. On-site event coordinators are here to help, but hurry, availability is limited and booking fast.
Visit theranchgolf.com.
Hey Edmonton, ready to power up your projects with unbeatable strength and efficiency? Step into Edmonton Kubota, where our massive inventory meets all your needs. From rugged tractors and loaders to nimble mowers and utility vehicles, we've got the machines that work as hard as you do. And guess what? This month, we're rolling out exclusive deals that'll make your heart race faster than our engines. Drive down to Edmonton Kubota or visit EdmontonKubota.com to discover how we can boost your efficiency, productivity, and fun. Edmonton Kubota, powering your passion with every turn of the key.
Until June 8th, make the shift to more savings at Fountain Tire and get up to $200 off a set of 4 select tires, plus a bonus $50 off any service of $150 or more. Restrictions apply, financing available. Book online today. I can tell by the look on your face you're thinking about it.
When you want to recognize the top performer on your team, come create memorable and customized trophies and awards with Elite Promotional Marketing. Elite's in-house design team will help you achieve your corporate award goals. Head to elitepromomarketing.com.
Catch the Edmonton Stingers basketball home opener on June 2nd at the Edmonton Expo Center. Enjoy affordable family fun with a $5 food and drink menu and free parking. Tickets start at just $20. Visit thestingers.ca/tickets.
Mark your calendars for Finning Cat's Inventory Blowout, May 31st to June 1st. Head down to our compact construction branch at 10920 170th Street for clearance prices on new and used equipment. Secure 0% financing and choose from perks like a $500 parts credit, a cat cooler, or Edmonton Elks tickets. Plus, be our guest for a free lunch from 11:30 to 1 on both days. Hurry, these deals last 2 days only. Some exceptions apply.
I'm Colin Livingston, president of Cantork. Since 2016, we've been at the forefront of hydraulic torque wrenches in Canada. I'm delighted to share our latest venture, in-house production for quicker turnaround, superior quality, and heightened versatility. Experience excellence at Cantork.com.
I'm Rick Showers from No Bull RV, and the used RV market is really heating up. That's good for us, of course, because we believe used RVs are better than new ones. But it's also good for you, because a packed lot at No Bull means you're more likely to find exactly what you're looking for in one visit.
But we offer so much more than finding the right one.
That's right, Bob. When you buy from No Bull, we walk you through every single component, every button, every switch. We confirm with you that everything works, what it's capable of, and how to get the most from it. We even show you the best way to hook it up to your truck. And if you ever have a question, even weeks later, we're still here and happy to help.
Try to get that kind of service when you buy from a random guy off the street.
Good point, Bob. We also offer easy payment. It's just another reason you'll get the perfect RV without all the...
And that's No Bull.
NoBullRV.ca.
Portions of this hour brought to you by Cantork. We're excited to announce that we now have machining capacity in-house, quicker turnarounds, improved quality control, and ultimate flexibility. Call 780-436-2000 or email colin@cantork.com to find out more.
Just after 4 o'clock, welcome back. Jason Gregor, Connor Halley with you, Sports 1440, Oilers Nation, YouTube, and Facebook. We got a lot of texts, but we're also going to open the lines right now, 833-401-1440. You can text it or call in and get your thoughts. I know you're fired up, which is great. And then we got Struddy coming up in about 15 minutes. Your thought, you get, if you get to make a decision as the coach, I guess you can make, let's limit it to realistic. Right? I think there's probably 2 lineup changes at the most they would make. I think Broberg and McLeod at this point. Like, I'd be surprised if there's 2 forwards that would come out of last night's lineup if you wanted to reinsert Corey Perry as well. I guess they could. So if you want to make that argument, sure. But I think it's probably realistic. It's 2. Who would it be? Would you bring in Broberg? And would you bring in Ryan McLeod? 833-401-1440. It is the Gregor Show, presented by PlayAlberta.ca. You can use the promo code Gregor50 during the playoffs and get a free $50 play with a minimum $5 deposit. Also, it's Tuesday. $70 million and 14 max millions up for grabs at PlayAlberta.ca. Hey, guys, I'd bring in Perry, play him with Henrique. Could use him. Actually, like that line last night. They scored a goal. Overall, they were fine. Like, I know, people look at the shot metrics. They had the one shift where I think they gave up 3 shots, which kind of, makes it look a lot worse overall. Hey, guys, I think you have to be willing to shuffle the deck to win. I'd love Perry in, but I just think he's too slow for this series from Rusty. Right? You know what? The way that Dallas likes to stretch the ice, I think there's some validity to that. And it's why I think Ryan McLeod is going to come back in the lineup tomorrow. I think, you know what? His speed is an asset to help defend against the weak side stretch pass that Dallas likes to use. Now, I know that McLeod hasn't performed to the level that he wants, the organization wants, and, well, most fans want. Right? He's pointless in 14 games played. It's not good enough. You get sat out. Sometimes it's a real different perspective because even if you know you're not playing well, right? It's still different than if all of you're still playing than if all of a sudden you're not. And it's like, hey, I got to do more. Because I think Ryan McLeod is like, they're not asking him to do what he's not capable of. Right? I think there's a difference. I think it's a mistake sometimes when you ask players to be what they're not and do what they're not capable of doing. Getting mad, oh, geez, these young guys, come on. They got to be better. Well, no, they don't know how to play defense at the NHL level yet. Right? We've seen that for lots of teams. But that's not the case right now for the Oilers. You bring in McLeod, and you're like, we want you to be engaged. We want you to play on your toes. I'd like you to take the puck to the net. You do that, you can play. Not even calling on you to score. That'd be a nice bonus. But get to the net. Like, it's a fair question to ask. Would Ryan McLeod have been in the position that Adam Henrique was when he scored the goal last night? Would he have gone to the net at that moment? I can't say with certainty. But the thing is, he needs to. I would just look and say, right, see that play? See where he was? That's where you need to go. Not floating to the outside of the play, not going away from the play, not going behind the net, looking for an outlet pass. No, going to the net, looking to score. And that's what they would do. Hey, guys, put Kulak with Nurse. Bouchard and Ekholm play him a lot. Put Ceci with Broberg from Hontora Moms. Yeah, I brought that up earlier. Like, Brett Kulak's numbers in the playoffs, he's only been on the ice for 6 goals against 5-on-5. Now, I know he doesn't play against the top pairs. I get it. But still, even if you just looked at it, if you want to go goals against per 60, he's still got the lowest on the team by quite a bit. He's not getting scored on. And in this series where speed, mobility, playmaking, skating, that's all big factors, maybe more than battles on the boards and penalty kill. I think it's really suited not only to Kulak, but I think it's suited to Philip Broberg. I think this series, the way it's going, is perfectly suited to his style of play. Now, if you got Florida in the next round, I would say I think it's more suited to Vincent Desharnais' skill sets. Because when you play Florida, there's going to be more power plays both ways, just because they take penalties and they annoy the you-know-what out of teams and they take penalties. It's just that. We've seen it. It's what they do. So I look at when you come to matchups sometimes, I think Broberg and Kulak's skill set should be ones where you say, hey, we should be playing those guys a little bit more, specifically Kulak. Like, he only played 15 minutes last night. Fewest of any defenseman on the team. And there wasn't a lot of power play or penalty kill time. So, yeah, I would find a way to get him more involved. Hey, guys, it's a tough decision because the team absolutely dominated for 20 minutes, and then it wasn't just one liner player that didn't get a shot for the next 14. From Steve, you're bang on. See, that's why, to me, people always, this guy's at fault. No, there's Stuart Skinner, one shot you didn't like. But that one shot, you can't say, well, that's the only thing I remember. And by the way, it wasn't a terrible goal. Terrible goals, when it's tic-tac-toe, 2-on-1 down low, a terrible goal to me is when you're shooting in front and he's squared up to the shooter and it just beats him from a sharp angle. To me, that's a bad goal. I didn't view last night as a bad goal. Did he play it perfectly? No. I don't view it as a terrible goal, especially when I look at the Duchesne save, I look at the Marshman save, and the stop 15. Go back and watch 15 seconds after Adam Henry ties the game. The Oilers just give an absolute 5-bell scoring chance, and Skinner makes a save in the slot. I can't remember who shot. I got to go back and look. But those are 3 huge saves in the game. Huge. So yeah, I don't point a lot of blame at Skinner. I thought he actually played quite well. But the first line, as great as they were in the first period, they too got dominated in the second period. Right? Not good enough. Right? We've talked about nurse slots. He's got to be better. Desharnais, Ceci, they got to be better. Right? Nugent Hopkins been on the ice for a lot of goals against. Go back and look at the first one. He's up high, could have got the puck out, didn't get it out. A few seconds later, back of your net. So this was as good as the team was in the first period. The collective team was that bad in the second period. Not just one group, not just one player, lots of different guys. And all that being said, I still think the Oilers have shown they can compete with Dallas, and at times they can dominate them. They just need to have the one thing Dallas has done. Look at Edmonton's goals in the series. How many of Edmonton's goals have been real gift goals where like a glaring error was made and boom, Edmonton capitalizes? It hasn't been a lot of those. And that's the difference. Edmonton's played very well, but they got to work for their goals. Dallas has played really well, and then at times Edmonton will give them a goal that's a lot easier. So we'll talk to Struds about, everyone's like, hey guys, your goalie, I don't care how many other saves he makes. If he lets in one, doesn't matter. Well, what do you mean it doesn't matter? So if Marchment would have scored on the breakaway and Duchesne had scored on the breakaway, well, guess what the score is then? Now it's 5-3. So does the Robertson goal from behind the net matter to make it 6-3? I would argue it doesn't. So I will strongly disagree with the suggestion that big saves don't matter. Of course they matter. And like I said all along, if McDavid or Draisaitl make that play, you're saying, oh, really, really creative play. Yes, Skinner could have played it better. Not an awful goal. It's a quick play, down low, quick reaction. Smart play by Robertson. Robertson even talked about that's a play he works on that he learned from his goalie coach. Because he says it's hard for guys to seal up back there. Robertson even outlined that. So, right, if the guy's a little bit out of position, which is going to happen, right? If the defenseman's 6 inches out of position, he can't get his stick on the puck. Is it terrible positioning? Or just not perfect? It's tough. Hey, guys, McLeod would not have been in that position to score. You're bang on. At the same time, I'd like to get him back in. Comes from Mike. Well, I agree. I think, Ryan McLeod, he's capable of playing better than he has. And the Oilers, you take him out, his speed is noticeable where it's lacking. No question. 5-on-5. And the way Dallas is playing, they're really trying to stretch the ice. But I would be very firm with McLeod. You're taking the puck to the net. I don't want to see you circling around the net every time. Sometimes, sure. Can't be every time. That would be my direct message to him. When we return, we'll talk to Struds. What changes would he make? Lots of you, most seem to be in agreement that they would like to see Broberg in. Hey, guys, I'd like to see Broberg in. My concern is he hasn't played in a while. What about the rust factor? Fair point. I don't know the answer to that question, but I'll say this. Like Adam Henrique. Now, he hadn't played since game 2. And you know what he told me before the game? He goes, man, you're going to be so amped up because the crowd's going crazy. You're excited about it. Philip Broberg, he wants to play in this game. I don't think there's a fear factor. I think there's an excitement factor. I don't think rust will be amazing. Like, he's a great skater. I don't think suddenly he's going to, oh, geez, I need a few periods here to get going. I think, if anything, you might have to calm him down. But anybody who's at that game, anybody's watching it on TV, there's no chance you're not fired up for this game. So I don't think rust, like, Rupe Hintz, now he wasn't out very long either, but made pretty good impression last night. So no, I think Broberg could come in and he could be fine. I think, early on, would you want him to, make a few passes, calm down? Okay, sure. But I don't think that all of a sudden we'd see Broberg throw a pizza up the middle because he's too overwhelmed. I guess it could happen, but I'd like to think at this stage it wouldn't. We'll come back. Jason Strudwick will join us on The Gregor Show, presented by PlayAlberta.ca.
New York-style crispy pepperoni pizza only from Papa John's. Get you some of that crispy, curly, cuppy pepperoni on top of an extra-large New York-style crust pizza with creamy tomato sauce and a 3-cheese blend. This ain't around forever, so walk fast like you're in NYC and order one now. The extra-large New York-style crispy pepperoni pizza for just $22.99, only at Papa John's. Better ingredients, better pizza, better get you some.
Take possession of my commercial space in 3 months. I need lighting. I need a fire alarm. I need data. I need a generator. I need panels.
Sounds like a job for the men and women of Action Electrical.
Projects team reporting. We design, build, and construct all the electrical systems for your projects. Need everything to work right? Get the Action Electrical project team on your site.
Facing an electrical mess?
Hello there.
Call the men and women of Action.
Mr.
Operating
Gregor.
Alberta and
Mr. Haley. Now that we have the Coke what's his name spilled on the keyboard is wiped and his buddy from Sportsnet got hooked up with a new let's hide the Coke and see what happens. Cam writes, far be it from me to second-hand guess Edmonton Oilers coach Chris Knobloch. I have a ton of respect for the the Kootenai Ice of the Western Hockey League. To think, when he stepped behind the Oilers bench goaltenders, Vancouver's
you really like.
Or 25. Welcome back, Jason Gregor. Connor Halley with you on Sports 1440, Oilers Nation, YouTube and Facebook. The Gregor Show, presented by PlayAlberta.ca. Hope you're having a wonderful day. The Oilers did skate today, not very long. Of course, some of the usual guys, Draisaitl, Kane, Henrik, also Nurse, not on the ice. Maintenance, lots of guys haven't been practicing during the postseason. Don't expect that to change between now and then. Other guys are out there, quick little twirl, and then boom, they're off, and they don't get a rest tonight, and then be back at it. A little bit earlier of a skate tomorrow morning. They've usually the Oilers would practice at 10:30 on game days, but because the game is starting earlier at 6:40 puck drop, you'll see they'll be on the ice. It'll be an optional skate tomorrow, so likely very few guys on the ice in the morning, and then they will get set for the 6:40 game, which I know it's not officially one, but I kind of view it as a must-win game for the Edmonton Oilers. Let's get the Struds on now, brought to you by Next Gen Transportation, heavy haul transport provider, 100% locally owned and operated, and proud partner of the MyShack group of companies. It's nextgentransportation.com.
The Jason Gregor Show presents Struds On.
It's the memories. That's what you remember. Memories. It's a bouquet of enjoyment coming in my mouth there. But it's like I always say, HK, who cares?
It's time for Struds On.
Former NHLer, co-host of the Got Your Back podcast, Jason Strudwick joins us. Struddy, how you doing?
Good. How are the Oilers fans today?
Oh, well, you know what? A little disappointed, as they should be. I thought last night was another opportunity where you dominate that first period. You probably should have been up more than 2-0, and then you have a horrific 3:33 and really a bad 12 minutes. Didn't have a shot on goal, and outside of giving up 3 goals, Skinner had to stop Marchman on a breakaway on another one. Like it was an awful turnaround. And like I know everybody says, well, we're expecting the push. Well, I get it, but you got to have some sort of pushback. You can't just let them trample you, and that's what happened in the second period.
Yeah, I think the conversation after the first, like, hey guys, they're going to come out with a really hard push. Let's make sure our details are ready. So if you look at the first 2 goals, don't get the puck out the blue line, blown coverages, like those are little details. And here after the game, the guy's like, well, we got to be better with our details. Yeah, you do. Like those are the details we're talking about. So, they kind of let it slip away. Then the momentum's just all over them. The Stars are just pushing. And when your details aren't dialed in, that's what happens. You just keep getting crushed. I think it was the second shift, Greg, of the second period, where the Oilers can get out of their zone.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that had to be 2 to 3 minutes in your own zone. And that's what happens when you're, A, they push, and B, your details aren't sound or not ready for that type of attack.
Yeah, and the disappointing was like their first line absolutely crushed Dallas in the first period, but then they were on the ice for both goals against, right? You mentioned, blowing the zone, leaving early, and then not getting out of the zone, right? Once by Nugent Hopkins, another time a bad read by McDavid. And to me, it was a collective team effort for them in how they blew that lead. It wasn't just one player. It was multiple different guys. It was key. Even Ekholm, a rare mistake from him, and mistakes will happen. But, that's where, like, the thing is, Struds, all that being said, like, the Oilers have spent long stretches of this series where they've been the better team and they've been the ones just giving it to Dallas, right? The difference is, I can't think of a goal that's a real, like, glaring error by Dallas. Like, Edmonton beats them and they really work hard, and you know what? They cycle it around, and you know what? Like, I don't know. Would you say Sagan made a terrible play on the McDavid goal? He just lost a battle in front of the net. Key point to where he loses the battle. So maybe we'll give him that one. But, for the most part, Edmonton has to work a little bit harder to get their goals.
They do, and now, it looks like Dallas is going to blow the zone a little bit, get out there and try to, get open and, push and open up the zone a little bit more to give him some space and get that pressure off him. So, yeah, I'm pretty interested to see what the response is for tomorrow lineup-wise for the Oilers. Then what adjustments do they make to try to get a little bit more attack time in zone and then deal with that guy blowing the zone. Because when you blow the zone, the demon has to respect that and back up. When you do that, it creates space for a breakout by the Stars.
Yeah. Darnell Nurse, 18 goals against, 5-on-5 in the playoffs. Now we consider and say there's been the odd one. It's bad luck. Sure, you're not responsible for every goal against, but the fact is he's 18 goals against. The next closest is 12 in CC. His goals against per 60 is the worst amongst any defenseman on the Oilers. He's got to pay better, Struds. And the thing I watch with Nurse that it really perplexes me, he's their best skating defenseman. It's not close. He might have the best recovery speed in the NHL. Like when a guy gets a step on him, he can recover and get to him. Yet last night, consistently, he's backing in. He's not standing up, and it completely neuters his speed and allows the other team to go. Like, you got to, I don't know how they get him, but he's got to be more aggressive, not running out of position, but just be more aggressive at times. Say, I'm going to go after this guy, and if by chance he gets by me, I can recover.
Yeah, I think that he's fighting a little bit of confidence, and just it's that doubting himself. And that's a scary position to be in when you're doubting yourself and you're not sure what am I supposed to do. But so when that happens, get back to the basics. What am I good at? I'm a good skater. I can be physical and I make a strong first pass. And just simplify it. Don't worry about the offense. Don't worry about anything else. Just simplify your game, and that brings your confidence back, and then the rest of your details fall into place. So I'm looking at that as a bounce-back game for Darnell tomorrow. Listen, he's been through this before. We've seen him play really good in the playoffs and play a lot of good moments. But this is his chance now to reset his game and understand what he does well and to do it.
Would you insert Philip Broberg for Vincent Desharnais?
Man, it's tough. He hasn't seen a playoff game in a while. I think that's a pretty tall order. I like his speed. I like his skating. Who's going to kill penalties then? Would it be Kulak, I guess? Or would you put Broberg as a penalty killer?
Well, you probably would move. You could move Kulak up. And here's the thing, Struddy. How many penalties are you killing?
Yeah. No, not many right now. I mean, that's a tough one. It's just that Broberg is such a wild card, right? I have no idea what he's going to bring. Corey Perry, I know what he's going to get if he gets back in the lineup. Or Carrick, you know what you're going to get. Mm-hmm. Broberg is a complete wild card, and that's scary. It could be really good, or it could be a little bit nerve-wracking. So I would probably say no, because it's just the unknown. I don't know what he's going to give me as a coach.
Yeah, fair. But, you know what his game is, right? Like his game is skating, puck moving, positioning. Like this is not a series where it's huge board battles, right? And lots of physicality in front of the net. It's really been a fairly tame series overall. There's not a lot of animosity. Like I don't even know if there's any. Has there been one scrum? Maybe one. You know what I mean? So I look and I'm watching Thomas Harley on the other end, and I'm like, he skates really well, handles the puck, not perfectly sound in all of his defensive reads, but kind of what Broberg could be. And I think Broberg's a better passer. I agree with you wholeheartedly that Desharnais is a better penalty killer. It's not even a discussion. But when it's kind of like Derek Ryan, and everyone's like, oh yeah, you got to keep him in. I'm like, but he barely plays 5-on-5, and he hasn't done anything 5-on-5. And there's not a lot of power plays right now. So you know what? You've got enough other penalty killers that for the one or two power plays in the game, I think you might be able to get by. Now, some would argue and say, yeah, but if we give up a goal, then it's not worth it. Okay. I guess that's fair. So I'm not saying it's an easy decision, but I got to think it's one like Knobloch hinted at it today, that it's one they're considering.
Yeah, and I get it. I wouldn't, if they did, I wouldn't be like, oh my God, what a crazy move. It's just, they have a better sense of what he is and what he looks like in practice and what he could do. And, the experience factor, maybe just go out there and play. You wouldn't even be thinking. I mean, bringing back Henrique helped. I'm guessing McLeod comes back in and someone gets squeezed out, maybe Derek Ryan. And then you change that up, your team gets faster. And you're able to skate more with Broberg in there. And maybe that's something you can deal with. That helps deal with what we've seen from the Dow Stars as far as blowing the zone and creating space.
Speaking of their stretch pass to the weak side specifically, even when they're not connecting on it, Struds, it's still making the Oilers be a little disjointed because you're seeing guys who sometimes might go in on it. Now they're like, they're retreating back. How would you counter it? Because like Edmonton did a pretty good job. I didn't really notice it as much in game 2, but last night I noticed it quite a few different times where even though they necessarily didn't score directly from the stretch pass itself, There was one play that led eventually to the puck being in the zone, the
Mhm.
Robertson goal, but it did in many other times. It looked like it got Edmonton off their heels, right? And they're discombobulated at times. So what's the best way to not prevent it, but be prepared and stay within a group and not have major gaps because you're trying to defend it?
Well, number one is knowing it. Now they know, right? Now they know it's there. And the Darnay play that led to a goal against, I think, that could have been prevented. So now you know. So now you know what's coming and you're out. So it's not just a guy retrieving and get the puck. It's others getting into position to receive the puck and calling for it and knowing that where your support is and that it is there. I think that's a big deal. So I think that's number one, is knowing where it is. Number two is trying to be above your checks. Because what happens is if there's a stretch play and let's say I'm standing beside whoever, Heiskanen, and he's between me and my net, he jumps and now he has the advantage. Now it's an odd man rush. So you also have to be above your guys, and that takes a lot of work. You have to be continuously recognizing where you're at when there's a 50-50 puck. So let's say you and one of the stars is going for it. I can't just be below my guy. I have to get above my guy to know that if there's a break and the guy just shoots it down, now I can be above my guy, not turn into an on-man rush. I think just those two small details would help the Oilers, deal with what Dallas is doing to just take pressure off in their end.
Jason Strudwick joins us. Overall, Struddy, how do you view this series? Edmonton could easily be up 2-1 in the series. I think. I don't think that's a major stretch, right? I don't think there's cause of panic at all. My only concern for me is, and if I'm on the coaching staff, the Oilers have the tendency to kind of give a little bit of an easier goal, whether it's not getting the puck out, whether it's a bad read, right? The Skinner goal wasn't great. I don't view it as terrible, having talked to some goalie coach guys. They say it's a little bit of a smart play by Robertson. Also, and it's a bang bang play. Would you like him to seal his pad inside the post? Probably, but we don't see that from them. So where do you stand on this series and Edmonton? And if they win tomorrow, obviously then it's 2-2. It's a best of 3. Anything can happen. But do you think Edmonton? I don't view this as Vegas, I guess, is my point. I've had a lot of people say, well, this is just like Vegas. I'm like, well, no, they got blown out in their games against Vegas early on in that series. I haven't seen that.
It's not like Vegas and for sure not Colorado. They're in this one. So I believe the challenge for the Oilers is to keep their play and their focus high for 60 minutes. And be, just be ready for every counterpoint. So there's going to be stretches where in your zone, but whether those, and then the next line out has to be, okay, we're going to push back. Doesn't mean we're going to score. Doesn't mean we're going to do something crazy, but our details will be high in place. So we push back and kind of push back on what they're trying to do. Dallas being. So I think that's been the letdowns in different moments in the series have been what have hurt the Oilers through these 3 games so far.
Would you put McLeod back in?
Yeah, I put McLeod in. I'd advocate for Perry. I think, it's going to be a greasy goal. So they're going to have to go in. I like what he can do. The problem is, what does that line look like? Would it be Henrique, McLeod, and Perry, or do you try to, take out guys that probably don't deserve to be, or that don't deserve to be taken out, like Brown's playing well? So it's tricky. So I doubt that Perry will probably go in next game, but I maybe he'd take his appearance at some point. But a lot of the plays right around that net, he saw the Oilers take a lot of those shots, shooting at his feet, on his feet from weird angles, trying to get weird bounces and get into the crease. And that's right up Perry's alley. And without Fogle and McLeod, I think you can play better beside Henry.
So could you play McLeod and Perry and take out Ryan and Fogle?
Well, it's a possibility, yeah, because I think you're trying to build a line that is more built for this ground and pound that they're trying to establish against Dallas. Because a lot of the play, like I said, was below the goal line, below the tops of the circles, and that's a hard game to play. And I think that Perry is built for that, especially with a center like Henrique that understands how Perry likes to play.
Yeah, see, I wouldn't even wonder about putting Perry with Carrick and Janmark. I think that's a real good cycling.
Yeah, it could be.
Right? For Derek Ryan.
Same idea.
Right?
Same idea. Yeah. But it didn't work with McLeod and Fogle. Those guys don't play that way.
No. I wholeheartedly
have to change it up.
Wholeheartedly agree with you there. So, yeah, it's an interesting one. I think, I don't think the Oilers need to panic, but there is urgency here because you go down 3-1. I think the series is over. I know that mathematically it's not, but I just think it's too difficult for them to win 3 games against Dallas. It's hard to do at the best of times for any team. I just think it'd be really tough for this one. So tomorrow, I kind of view it. I view tomorrow as a must-win game for the Edmonton Oilers.
Yeah, for sure, man. For sure, I'm with you. Got to get it done. I think they will. It's going to be a best of 3 after tomorrow night.
What do you make of the your other alumni, the Rangers and the Panthers?
Yeah, I don't know if they deserve to be winning the series, but they are. So what do you do?
It's a good problem.
I think this will be I think it'll be another tight one tonight. But quite honestly, I think the Oilers match up better against the Rangers in Florida. So if you're looking past the series, I think that's a matchup you probably want if you're an Oilers fan.
I would agree with you actually on that.
Yeah.
I think you know what. Hey, I think Edmonton could beat either team, right? If they play up to their potential, but on a just a pure matchup basis, and the fact that Adam Fox I think is banged up, I think for sure that's the matchup you would prefer. And we'll see where it goes. One last one for you as a player. Dan Bilesma, he said he went back to the American League and kind of rediscovered his love of coaching. What do you make of that hire for Seattle? Do you like it? Do you think it ultimately maybe doesn't matter because it depends on what they're going to bring in as players? Or do you think he's the right guy to get them back to being competitive?
Yeah, just go down. I mean, it's not the most exciting hire if you're a Kraken fan, but he knows that the players in the minors. And I think he's a good fit for that reason, like we saw with Jay Woodcroft.
Do you think, are you surprised that Woodcroft didn't get any of the, there's the one job left in San Jose right now, although maybe Columbus, we'll see what Don Waddell does, but are you surprised that Woodcroft hasn't got back in?
I am. And I think he'll be a guy that gets in there mid-season. I think you're looking at a mid-season hire for Jay, more likely because he deserves it. He deserves a spot.
Struddy, have yourself a good day. We will chat with you next Tuesday.
Okay, talk to you guys then. Enjoy the game.
There you go. That's Jason Strudwick. Struds On, brought to you by Next Gen Transportation. What do you think? Do you like the? I understand what he said about the risk from a coach, because you always have to look at that perspective. He's like, hey, you know what? We know there's strengths and weaknesses to every player. Most have more strengths than weaknesses. Otherwise, you're not in the NHL. That's just a fact. Do you switch out their 60? Do you give Desharnais a night off? Or do you just say, no, we're going to go with those guys? Think they can play better? I think Ryan McLeod comes back in. He's a regular in your team. It's a pretty big message to be a healthy scratch. And they lost. Have they won the game? Little different story. But they lost, so I think it's easier. I could see Fogle, if McLeod can be sat down, you could make this statement for Fogle. Could you take Fogle and Ryan out, put in Perry and McLeod? Oh, they might just take I think Ryan's coming out. I think McLeod's coming in for sure. We'll see. Quick break. We'll come back. We've got 5 questions and more on the Gregor Show, presented by PlayAlberta.ca. We're coming to you live in the eWell studio, EWEL.ca, your local electrical distributor. And hey, they have their whole new e-commerce website. Check it out, EWEL.ca. Much easier to purchase and and get what you need right away.
The playoffs are wild. We all know that. And this year, Play Alberta is making it even wilder. Make a deposit with promo code Gregor50 to snag a $50 free sports bet with your next deposit. Get ready for unbeatable promotions throughout the playoffs with 10+ odds boost on every Oilers playoff game. Score a chance to win a pair of lower bowl or even exclusive sweet tickets for an Oilers playoff game just by making a bet on an Oilers playoff game at PlayAlberta.ca. Bonus terms and conditions apply.
Legacy Heating and Cooling jingle auditions, take one for Ryan Nugent-Hopkins and Zach Hyman. Are you ready, guys?
We were born ready. Heck yes, Nuge. Drop the beat.
Call Legacy. Call Legacy.
We freaking killed it, Nuge. That's what I'm talking about, Zachary Martin Hyman.
Nice guys. We're going to sell a lot of air conditioners.
Hey, doesn't Legacy offer no payments and no interest for a year on those?
Yeah. Well, thanks for the assist on the copy points there, Nuge.
It's just what I do.
Legacy Heating and Cooling.
Building or renovating, you want to work with someone who sees and understands your vision. BIE Engineering is a family-owned, experienced structural engineering consulting firm serving commercial and residential clients in Edmonton and surrounding area. Homeowner or large company, they'll work with you to help see your ideas through. BIE Engineering can help prevent problems, deliver solutions, and minimize your risk. BIE Engineering. Request a quote for your project today. Visit bieeng.com.
Sports 1440 has added another player to our lineup. Tonight, from 6 to 9, check out Turn Sports with your host, Navin Romerick. Edmonton's exclusive home of sports talk is now rolling 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.
Hey, Edmonton, it's your quarterback, McLeod Bethel-Thompson. Elks football is back. The home opener, presented by Pure Later Tackle Hunger, is Saturday, June 8th versus the Saskatchewan Roughriders. The Grey Cup will be in the house to salute 75 years of EE football. Tickets and more at goelks.com.
This spring, experience innovation on the road at Volvo Cars Edmonton. Right now, lease from 0.99% or save up to $4,000 on select models for qualifying loyal Volvo Cars Edmonton customers. Plus, save $5,000 on all new and demo 2024 XC60 Recharge plug-in hybrid models. Discover why we're Canada's only 13-time Volvo Excellence Award winner. Chat online at volvocarsedmonton.com or visit 1205 101st Street Southwest.
Bon-Ton Bakery has been baking bread since 1956, but also offers a whole store of delicious local and specialty foods today. So we're not just your daily bread source. Bon-Ton has treats for your friends and workmates, cakes for those special occasions, monthly features so you can try something new each time you visit, including many healthy options. There's something for everyone. Bon-Ton Bakery, open 9 to 5, Tuesday to Saturday, online at bonton.ca.
When summer brings the heat, McDonald's brings the chill. During summer drink days, enjoy a small iced coffee or a refreshing Coca-Cola for $1 plus tax and step up your summer today. At participating McDonald's restaurants in Canada, prices exclude delivery.
Vision Credit Union is proud to serve rural Albertan entrepreneurs, business owners like Tanya Greenwald, who owns the Sweetery in downtown Camrose. Tanya and her team are up at the crack of dawn most days, baking cakes, cupcakes, donuts, macarons, cookies, cheesecakes, and other treats to fill the shelves at her pretty bakery. Now, that's a sweet way to get down to business. Looking for financial services to help your company get down to business? Learn more at visioncu.ca.
I'm Dr. Vance Elliott. The goal of every one of the thousands of hair restoration procedures I've performed is a full, natural-looking head of hair. I work directly with my patients for the consultation, the procedure, and the follow-up, so we can achieve the best results possible. When people see what we accomplish, I don't want them to think, "Wow, great hair transplant." I want them to think,
Wow, great hair.
Go to drvanceelliott.com and contact us today.
Through to my soul.
Ooh, I'll say this about the King, man. That guy, talented dude. He has got a lot of songs that are catchy tunes. Doesn't really matter. Think about how many years ago that song came out. And maybe you've never heard it before. And you're just like, whew, catchy tune. Like, there's a reason why he's called the King. It's one of the better performers of all time. I think that's not a big reach. I think it's fair to say that. Now, let's get to 5 questions brought to you by The Brick. Have you heard of Scratch? I've heard of a Scratch in hockey, but have you heard of Scratch and Save at The Brick? By saving an additional 40% off furniture purchases, this deal isn't one you're going to want to leave out. So check it out right now at The Brick and thebrick.com.
It's time for 5 questions on the Jason Gregor Show.
All right, Gregor will ask you this question, and everyone out there in oil country, text in 1-833-401-1440. On a scale of 1 to 10, what is the panic level right now for the Edmonton Oilers?
Well, maybe a 6. The long stretch, they played well. Like I said, you win one game, and it's a best of 3. So I don't see it being a massive panic level just yet.
I'm with you. I might even go lower, maybe 5 or 4, just because the games, there's been some low points and some balls in their game, but I feel like we still haven't seen them play their best game where you get that offensive output more than just 2-3 goals. So I still think the Oilers have a lot of good hockey left in them. I'll say I'm a little bit lower, 4 or 5. Question number 2. If I set the line at 1.5 when it comes to Oilers lineup changes going into game 4, you taking the over or the under?
How many?
1.5.
Ooh. Oh, yeah. I'll take the over. No. Let me think about that. 1.5. Yeah, you know what? I'd still take the over. I think we could see 2, but it might not be on defense.
I'm with you. 1.5 for me. I'm taking the over. 2.5. That's where I start to hesitate, but I think we'll see 2 moves made for the Oilers in the lineup tomorrow. Don Waddell heading to Columbus, the new president of hockey ops, GM, and alternate governor. How long before we see Columbus back into the playoffs?
Yeah, it's a good question, Cons. Well, you just look at the Eastern Conference and you say, okay, Columbus, if you're coming in, who's coming out? And keep in mind, Buffalo and Ottawa and Detroit, some would argue, are probably ahead of you to get back in there. Man. I think they're in a better division. Washington, I think, has a chance to come down. The Islanders, meh. Washington, meh. Pittsburgh, meh. So, they have a chance. There's Carolina for sure and the Rangers. But after that, you know what? You get a few breaks, they could be in. So, I will say 2 years.
Yeah, I mean, hey, he must like a challenge. Good for him. Based on the track record, I mean, he built a great team in Carolina. Couldn't get over the hump, but a very good team, playoff team for sure. So, yeah, I'll be a little more pessimistic on this one. Maybe 3 to 4 years. But I think he'll get them there. I like the hire for the Columbus Blue Jackets. We'll see how long it takes. Question number 4. The Boston Celtics will now have 10 days off between the conference final and the NBA finals, and the Mavericks could have 9 days off if they win tonight. If you were a player, maybe you're a coach, you're just involved with the team, what do you think the perfect amount of days off between a series would be?
It's interesting how they're just locked in automatically to the start date.
Yeah.
This is not the Super Bowl. It's not a one game. Right? Seems a little odd to me. But I would say the best number for days off. So you finish, I think if you had 4 days off, so you finish on, let's say, a Friday, Saturday's a day off. You practice Sunday, Monday, Tuesday is like the media day in the city because you have to fly in for that. And then you play on the Wednesday. So, what is that? Saturday, Sunday, Monday. So 4 days between games. That's what would be my number.
Yeah, I like it. I was thinking 5, especially, you are the Celtics. No rush to get home. You can take things a little bit slower. Maybe give the guys an extra day off. Obviously, it's the playoffs. Players are hurt. So the extra days to feel healthy is going to be great. I'll say 5 days, but 10, potentially 9 for the Mavs. A little long. And you'd think you'd want to keep the momentum going, especially if you're the league. This is a long delay that we've got in between series potentially on both sides. Final question for you. Today is National Brisket Day. So when it comes to barbecue and cooking meats, what is your favorite to cook up, whether it's the smoker, the grill, whatever it might be?
I've never used a smoker. I've eaten off of a smoker, but I've never actually been the one running it. So barbecue for sure. The one I'm best at is chicken. I can barbecue chicken perfectly. It's never overdone. Steak, I'm not as good as steak, to be honest. I can make it. It's fine. But sometimes it's a little bit more than you'd like. So I will go with chicken, followed closely by I like barbecue fish. A little bit of cod wrapped up in the tinfoil on the barbecue. It's pretty good.
Looking forward to trying to do a little more barbecuing in the next this summer.
Actually, I want to change my answer to salmon.
Salmon?
Cod, yeah, salmon's way better. And salmon, honestly, it's pretty idiot proof. I can do it.
See, that's what I need. Those are the recipes I need. I I do a pulled pork. I'll just throw it in the slow cooker, let it go, 6 to 8 hours, depending on how much time we have. Load it up with barbecue sauce, and then for pulled pork sandwiches, I think that would probably be my favorite.
Oh, I like it. I like a good pulled pork. Yes, it's a good answer.
Not too much maintenance. You can make it, leave the house.
Well, there's something about there's a big benefit of the cooker, right? Made hamburger soup and other things like that, like the crock pot. Oh, it's unbelievable. You can make some good soups and some good stews in there for sure. That doesn't you just kind of mix it all up, throw it in, and then you come back 8 hours later and it's all, oh, look at me, chef extraordinaire. And I'm like, not really, but yeah, that's pretty good. I like it. I will say though, steak in the air fryer, and so maybe it shows my lack of steak barbecuing confidence, but the air fryer steaks that we've made since we got the air fryer are better than on the barbecue.
Really?
Oh, because, you have the thermostat, you put the timer into and it cooks it to perfection every time, like right on the bunny. It's stunningly good. I could not. Chicken? Yeah, I don't like the chicken in the air fryer. But steak has been really good.
That's one I can't wait to bust out, the air fryer. We got one for the wedding, but it's still boxed up. We wanted to wait.
Oh, my God, buddy. You got to get on that.
I can't wait. I hear like wings.
Wings
Perfect.
are good. You know what? You warm up pizza in the air fryer. Unreal. Way better microwaving, and then you don't have to heat up the whole stove. So I like that. Heats up so quickly, right? It's just a lot smaller space that you're warming up. Honestly, we've done vegetables in there. Quite good. Yeah, the air fryer is solid, man. I like it.
Yeah, I'm fired up for it.
Hey, guys, but doesn't the NBA and the NHL coordinate the finals and the NBA finals so they aren't competing on the same night? Well, if you look, the NHL has announced theirs as well. I have to look at the NBA final schedule. I haven't even looked at the because I know the NHL one. They will start. No, they're on the 6th and the 9th, the 12th, the 14th, the 17th, and the 24th. The NHL is going the 8th and the 10th, the 13th, the 15th, the 18th, the 21st. So yeah, they're off, and that's fine. But you still could have, if you're the NBA, you knew what days the NHL is doing it. You still could have moved it up and not had conflicting days. Like they're starting on a Thursday, June 6th. Could you not have moved it up and started on Sunday instead? Right? June 2nd? Like it's a Sunday night. Right? Because that's what they play Thursday, Sunday. Then they play the 12th, which is Wednesday. Then they play the 14th, which is a Friday. Then they don't play again till the Monday, the 17th, and then they finish things off on the Thursday. So they don't even actually have a Sunday game. Oh, no, they have one Sunday game. But I just, it seems odd that you would commit. Now, maybe they don't think it's going to be a sweep both ways. That's obviously rare. I think like both conferences being a sweep was something like 1957, I think was the last time it happened. So that seems like way too long of a break. Although, you know what? Look at the NFL has a 2-week break and doesn't really limit them. So maybe you don't have to. But that's also the tradition that every time.
And you do that every week, right? Or 1 week at least.
Yeah.
Sometimes you get the bye week, whatever it might be. But what would you do? Would you get the guys like, you've earned this? You have 9 days off.
Well, I'm going to the players want to win the championship. They're not caring about days off at that point. Like you rest up.
Yeah.
You probably would have day off, 2 days. Then you practice hard for a day or two, then some more days off. That's probably how you split it up, I would guess. It's a good question, but that's what I would guess. Now, you're not going to practice hard for like 5 consecutive days, but you might go hard for a day or two, then have some rest, day off, then go again. I could see them doing that. And so, 9 and 10 days off. If the Mavs win tonight, then, and even if they don't win tonight and they win in game 5, I really don't think that fatigue is going to be a factor at all in the NBA final, unless somehow Minnesota makes this a super long series that right now doesn't look like it's going to be.
And the Celtics, pretty healthy. Kristaps Porzingis with this break looks like he'll get in. I think for the Mavericks, it's really just Luka with the knee and ankle that's just lingering. I think he's going to have to play through it. Don't think it's going to heal that quick anyway. So both teams relatively healthy going in.
Hey, Greggs, I'd just like to point out how awesome it is that the games start much closer to the actual start time. 6:40. Yeah, it's much better, isn't it? Oh, it's like a breath of fresh air. The 6:40 starts. They're awesome, unless your kids are in soccer on the weekdays. Then you're likely PVR in the game. Well, I should ask, how many of you are sending your kids to soccer, but you're not watching, or you're at the game, but you're watching the game the NHL game on TV and not really watching your soccer game? A little confession time if you want. Curious about that. 833-401-1440. Take a quick break. We'll return. We got more on the orders, lineup changes. I don't think they need to panic. I think they've had long stretches of playing well. However, the one concern is the concern I've always had. This team's struggle, because I won't say inability because they've done it, but their struggle to avoid the gift goal. Get to the Conman Sports 1440 update, brought to you by Booster Juice. People who love strawberries, you're going to love, but you only have a few days left to get the Strawberries Cream and Booster Ball. It's a fan favorite, a mix of strawberries, coconut, cashews, and vanilla. Try one today, only at Booster Juice.
This is a Sports 1440 update.
Columbus Blue Jackets named Don Waddell as their next general manager and president of hockey operations. Waddell joins the club days after stepping down from his job as GM of the Carolina Hurricanes with his contract set to expire. San Jose Sharks signed prospect Will Smith to a 3-year entry-level deal after one season at Boston College, where he led the nation with 71 points. That was 25 goals and 46 assists in 41 games. On the ice tonight, Rangers in Sunrise to take on the Panthers just after 6 o'clock. Rangers lead that series 2-1. In the association, the Dallas Mavericks look to complete the sweep over the Minnesota Timberwolves when they meet at 6:30 down in Dallas. Obviously, the Mavs lead that one 3-0. In the majors right now, 3 games underway. Cards, Reds, Athletics, Rays both scoreless. The Red Sox have a 2-1 lead over the Orioles in the bottom of the first. Orioles do have the bases loaded with 1 out. Still to come, of course, the Toronto Blue Jays in Chicago battling the White Sox once again. 5:40 is the pitch time in that one. You got the Cubs also taking on the Brewers. Twins meet the Royals. Guardians in Colorado. Mariners host the Astros. Marlins travel to San Diego, and the Giants host the Phillies. Earlier today, the Dodgers knocked out the Mets 5-2 in the first game of their doubleheader. Second game gets going shortly, and 1 game postponed. Tigers and Pirates due to rain in Detroit. They'll make that one up tomorrow. Memorial Cup, we're about 30 minutes away as Moose Jaw meets Drummondville. Both teams looking for their first win of the tournament. And in the WNBA, the Mercury in Connecticut take on the undefeated Sun. Sparks take on the Fever, and the Sky host the Storm. From the NFL, wide receiver Nico Collins and the Houston Texans agreeing to a 3-year contract extension worth $72 million, 52 of which is guaranteed. Collins, still just 25 years old, finished the 80 receptions, 1,300 yards, and 8 touchdowns last season. Coming up in hour 4 of the Jason Gregor Show, we will be joined by Mark Spector of Rogers Sportsnet and Derek Van Diest from NHL.com. I'm Connor Halley. This has been a Sports 1440 update.
Sports 1440 in West Edmonton Mall and Wetaskiwin. CKJR is a Stingray radio station.
Download the free radio player app and listen wherever you go.
This spring, experience innovation on the road at Volvo Cars Edmonton. Right now, lease from 0.99% or save up to $4,000 on select models for qualifying loyal Volvo Cars Edmonton customers. Plus, save $5,000 on all new and demo 2024 XC60 Recharge plug-in hybrid models. Discover why we're Canada's only 13-time Volvo Excellence Award winner. Chat online at volvocarsedmonton.com or visit 1205 101st Street Southwest.
I'm Ryan Nugent-Hopkins.
And I'm Zach Hyman.
And when we're not making juicy sweet passes
or having my goals disallowed,
we're working for Legacy Heating and Cooling.
You know, guys used to call me a plumber.
And now they call you an AC repairman.
Nice.
Hey, guys, you're not here to fix air conditioners. You're here to sing the jingle.
Oh.
Well.
Okay.
Call Legacy. Call Legacy.
No payments and no interest for 1 year from qualified installers. Legacy Heating and Cooling.
This spring, the savings continue at The Brick. Take up to 40% off furniture and mattresses, as well as the chance to scratch and save up to an additional 40% off your purchase. Plus, you'll have the chance to win great prizes, including a $10,000 Brick shopping spree. Find amazing deals on kitchen appliances and save up to $400 on sofas so you can prepare your ultimate game day snack and then watch the game in style. Some exclusions apply. See in-store for details. The Brick, saving you more.
A solid financial plan is made up of more than just investments. Investments are an important part, but you need a more comprehensive approach. Roger Weird at Weird Pearson Akel & Associates Private Wealth Management understands that. He can help build a plan that includes retirement, estate planning, personal insurance, tax strategies, and yes, investments. Talk to him today and see the difference a real financial plan makes. Weird Pearson Akel & Associates. Call 780-988-4119 or visit weirdadvisoryteam.com.
The Junior Prospects Hockey League is entering its 3rd season of gameplay. The JPHL now offers academic and athletic opportunities in the 14U, 15, 17, and 18U age divisions. All JPHL games are broadcast live on Silent Ice TV with a showcase-style game schedule and high level of travel and accommodations for its team, staff, and players. To learn more about why the JPHL is the fastest growing elite hockey academy stream in Western Canada, visit juniorprospectshockeyleague.com.
Try the new extra large New York style crispy pepperoni pizza only from Papa John's. Get you some of that crispy, curly, cuppy pepperoni on top of an extra large New York style crust pizza with creamy tomato sauce and a 3-cheese blend. This ain't around forever, so walk fast like you're in NYC and order one now.
Just after 5 o'clock. How are you? Welcome back to the Gregor Show on Sports 1440, Oilers Nation, YouTube, and Facebook. And hey, we're talking lots of hockey this week, which is great. Also, it is a kids sport week. And you know what? As you get so fired up about sports, mainly because many of you probably played it at some level. Doesn't matter when. You fell in love with the sport from playing it, maybe watching, maybe it's just road hockey, whatever the sport, doesn't matter. You got into sports. And even if you don't watch the sport you played, it gives you a greater appreciation of just what goes on in sports, how fun it is to be part of a team. And that's what Kids Sport does. So on Thursday on our show, it's Kids Sport Day. And we're going to hopefully sponsor 80 kids. All right. There's 2 different ways to do it. You can do a monthly donation of $25, which you probably don't even miss. And every time you see it on your statement, you'll be like, oh, helping a kid. Great. Or you can make a one-time donation of 300 bones. Either one. So Thursday is when we'll do it. Now, if you want to jumpstart, you want to send us in a text saying you're in now, we'll keep the names and then we'll announce them all on Thursday's show. But our goal is to get to 80, which we, of course, did at the old station every May. And we'll look to continue that. So if you were one of the sponsors last year, check your email. You got one. If you want to continue it, that's great. But we're always looking for new people who want to help out the kids and get them in the sports and activities because, you know what? More time they're in sports, less time they're doing things less productive. So it's a good thing. So if you want to help out, be sure to be tuning in on Thursday. You can think about it. If you want to get a jump start on it, you can do it today. Text us at 833-401-1440. Now, it is the Gregor Show presented by PlayAlberta.ca, where Alberta's only regulated online gambling website where 100% of the benefits proceeds stay right here in the province. Also remind you, if you do wager, use your GameSense. Go to gamesense.ab.ca and learn more. The Eastern Conference final continues tonight. The Florida Panthers in the exact same position that the Edmonton Oilers will find themselves in tomorrow. They are the home team for Game 4, and they're trailing 2-1 in the series. Lots of times in the series, they've been the better team for stretches, but can't win. Kind of like the Edmonton Oilers. Let's get to the Spec Report now, brought to you by GS Construction. And hey, they've been pretty consistent. 50 years is coming up around the corner next week. In fact, June 1st. And they'll have a big celebration, a big party. And just want to thank everybody who has supported them and helped them grow for 50 and hope they have another successful 50 after that. GS Construction as Mark Spector joins us. Spec, how you doing, man?
Doing pretty good. Jay, what's going on an off day here?
Oof, buddy, there's lots happening for the Oilers. You know what? A game that started with such promise and such domination in the first period, and then just boom, in a matter of 3 minutes, 33 seconds, the lead evaporated, and the Oilers playing catch up. They tied it, could not get the lead back, and then lost ultimately with an empty netter to secure it away. And now they find themselves, Spec, saying, hey, how can we be better prepared for the weak side stretch pass that Dallas likes to do? And can we ensure that when you get to the blue line, we get pucks out, we make the right defensive reads, we get a key stop? Like, there's not one individual you can pin this loss on. It was as good as the team played in the first period. There's lots of different lines and lots of different deep pairs, and the goalie on one save, although he's made a lot of other good ones, that will look and say, man, one play here or there, I made the wrong decision and it cost us.
Oh, for sure. Like, I feel like there's, I kind of boil these games down, Jay, to like the last two games. I get what happened in the first two periods, and it concerns you when you have a 2-0 lead in the playoff game. A team should hang on and do a better job. Their second period was a disaster. I get all that. But I kind of look at it like it was a tie game after 40 minutes, So, Zach Hyman said today that one of the biggest things about playoffs is there's stretches that don't go your way, and stuff happens here that we didn't plan for. And it's how do you deal with it, and how do you react to it? And, or do you have the fortitude to put, it's like a goalie who lets in a bad goal. It can't mean you're letting in 3 bad goals.
Yeah.
And hey, they got that late goal by Henrique. They come out of the dressing room. It's a tie game. They outshoot them. What was it? 13-3 in the third period.
Yeah. Not many chances though, unfortunately, but yeah.
I'm sorry.
They didn't have many chances in the third, but you're right. They did outshoot them.
Well, but I mean, listen, pal, I'm here to tell you, I get murdered by all these people who have all these judgments based on shot share. Like 50% of the analytics are based on shot share, meaning if you're getting shots, you have the puck. If you have the puck, you're doing well. So they had the puck, and they didn't score in the third period. Nobody made a play. The only guy that made a play in the third period was 21 Green. And in the game before, it was Marchman who made the play, and no one made the play. So frankly, I'm less interested in how they got there, and I'm more interested in why the other team has a new hero every night and the Oilers don't.
Well, the fact that they are 0-for in the third period in the series. They don't have a goal yet in the third period, and every game has been close, right? It's either been a tie game or, every third period, it's been a tie game or 1-goal deficit in the third, and the Oilers can't get a goal. Like that, as good as they've been in the first, their inability to score at crunch time right now is hurting them.
Hey, pal, listen, no one's criticizing Leon Draisaitl, one of the great playoff players of all time. Okay, so get that on the record. In this series, Draisaitl has 1 point. Nugent Hopkins has 1 point, right? 2 other guys in the top 6. Kane has 0 points. Holloway has 0 points. That's 2/3 of your top 6. They got a goal and an assist between them. 2/3, right? Yeah. And somehow this turned into a day where everyone's beating the living heck out of a couple defensemen. Is Darnell Nurse playing any good? No, he's not. But 2/3 of your top 6 here have no 2 points between them. And somehow this city's freaking out about a team that in 3 games, Jason, has allowed 8 goals. I'm not counting the 2 empty netters. In 3 games, the Oilers have allowed 8 goals. That's less than 3 goals a game. And somehow this became about goaltending and defense. I don't know how we are not talking about what the heck happened to all the guys who were supposed to be producing points here. Where did they go?
Yeah, it's a fair point. That's a very fair point. right? It's that's why I said off the top, to me, this is a complete team effort of losing. If your job is to produce and you're not producing, your job is to defend, you're not to defend, and your job is to just make saves. And it's just too easy to always want to find this. We know, it's Nurse and Cece. Everything's their fault. Now, hey, Darnell Nurse can play way better. Like, make that abundantly clear. I talked about it a lot. It's like, you know what? He's way too passive right now. There's no question. But you're right. Yeah, like, where's the offensive guys? Like, if that's your job and if you're not scoring, then what are you doing?
Buddy, 8 goals in 3 games is not a terrible defensive team, right?
Yeah.
If this Oilers team can't score 10 goals in 3 games, what are they about here? Like, this team has got the best offensive players in the world, and they score. Like, we've always talked about how they're never going to get anywhere until they can get their goals against down. Guess what? Their goals against is less than 3. And in all 3 playoff seasons, starting in 22, 23, 24, they average well over 3 goals a game, this team. So why aren't they doing it against Dallas, right? I'm not here to blame a team that's performing where it's always performed defensively. This has always been a 2.5, 2.6 goals against team. That's what they've always been. I don't think it's ever going to change, Jason. They've also always been almost a 3.5 goals for team, and they're not doing it. To me, I'm looking at the guys who are supposed to score. I'm looking at a third line that's been a black hole until Henrique scored the other night. And I'm looking at, where's my new hero every night up front? What's the Vander Kane doing in this series? And what happened to Dylan Holloway? Let's go, boys. It's time to show up.
What moves would you make if you were Chris Knobloch heading into Game 4?
Well, I'm seeing a series, Jason, with a ton of garbage goals getting scored in it. Marchment wins it on a tip. Robertson wins it on a really great play by Robertson. Like, don't get me wrong, I love that goal. If McDavid scored it, we'd be heaping praise, right? So these are greasy goals. Edmonton's got the king of greasy goals, and they sit in the press box right now. I get it, right? I get it. They don't have grinders for him to play with. Working him out there with Fogle and McLeod is not ever going to work. That's never going to work. Playing him out there with Brown, let's say, and Henrique, now you got a couple guys Corey Perry can play with. You get a guy in your lineup who maybe if he was on the bench, maybe they hold things together a little better in that second period stretch. And maybe they get, instead of a bunch of guys trying to score from distance in the perimeter and all those things, maybe you get a grindy, greasy worm special, and those count too. I think they get Corey Perry in the lineup tomorrow if I'm coaching the team.
Would you reinsert McLeod?
Nope. I don't see why we would reinsert McLeod. Why would you?
I actually would. Yeah, I think the style of this series, I could put McLeod and Perry in and take Fogle and Ryan out.
Okay, if that's what you want to do, I'm not completely against it. Like, you're talking about guys that aren't doing anything. I like Warren Fogle. He's been a good player all year. Nothing done in these playoffs. If he comes out, no problem. We're at the point, Jason, right? I think, stop me if I'm wrong. We all have guys in the team we like. We all have guys in the team who've done a lot. And maybe if they're not doing something today, you go, yeah, but gee, they sure have earned their place. We're past that now. We're the Edmonton Oilers are one loss away from being this side of extinct. So yeah. Warren Fogle hasn't earned a spot in this team right now. To my mind, Ryan McLeod hasn't earned a spot on this team right now. It's time to try new guys. It's time to try Corey Perry. If you take out Derek Ryan, I'm fine with that. But loyalty is gone. It's time to find guys who are going to get something done here.
Yeah, no, that's fair. Mark Spector joined us here on Sports 1440. Now, what about on the back end? Would you consider Broberg coming in?
Personally, I would not. And the reason is I don't think it's fair to take a young player who hasn't been through this fire and put him in this game. I just don't. For two things. I don't think he's going to play a mistake-free game. That's for sure. And I think the damage you might do to that young player could be significant if you put him in a position to fail like this. I'm not telling you I like Nurse's game. Nobody likes Nurse's game. Broberg's not coming in for Nurse. I'm here to tell you. Right?
What
not
about
loving CC's game? He's not. If you think you're going to take a young guy who's basically never played a playoff game, put him in the Western Conference Final against one of the best teams you've seen, and play him on the wrong side, I think that is the that is the opposite of developing a young player. I think that's about the worst way I could think of developing a young player, Jay.
Yeah, like I wonder, what if you played Broberg and moved Brett Kulak to play with Nurse and played Broberg on his natural left side with Cece?
Yeah. You know what? I mean, sure.
Right?
Sure.
Because like I've looked at Brett Kulak. Like Brett Kulak's he's been on the ice for 6 goals against, which is 4 less than any other defenseman on the Oilers in the playoffs. Now I know he hasn't played as many minutes, but his goals against per 60 is still the lowest on the team by far. And the way this series is played, Spec, it's not a grind it out in the corners. There's not a huge amount of board battles. Not that it's not an overly physical series. There's not a lot of penalties. So I look at how freewheeling it is and lack of physicality. I think skating and puck movement and positioning matters. And those are all skills of Kulak and Broberg. And it's something that I know it now. You're asking Kulak to play the right side, which he really hasn't played. So someone might say, Gregor, you're an idiot. So I can understand that too. But I'm thrown out there, man. Brett Kulak has been really good. And that's a way to protect Broberg, but have more speed and more puck movement around your defense core.
Everything you just said makes sense to me, Jay. Everything you said makes sense to me. I don't think that in the pressure cooker that tomorrow night's going to be, that it's the time to try it. I just don't think so.
That's
I would
fair.
rather see a coach who sheltered Cece. And if you hate Cece's game that much, then tell him to just kill penalties and don't play him. Or if that's what you do with Desharnais or whoever you do it with. But I don't think that Broberg coming in for the first time in forever is going to be better than what you got right now. I can't see it. Sorry.
Spec, it's going to be interesting to see tomorrow because Knobloch kind of opened the door a little bit today to making a change on the blue line. So that's why I brought it up, right? His press conference today definitely hinted that there's a possibility there. So
he also said it's a pretty good possibility Corey Perry gets in. Then he went and kind of mitigated it, the rest of the quote. So listen, he's got one thing I'll say about Knobloch. He's got the cojones. He's made a lot of moves. Like he's not afraid, right? He's not afraid. I like that. Again, he sees a lot more on his video in McLeod's play than I see from where I'm sitting. So I'm in no hurry to get McLeod back into this series. He is, and I respect that. Frankly, he's smarter than I am when it comes to player deployment because he spends 3 hours a day rewatching the game on video, and I don't. But I'm not in a hurry to get McLeod in. I'm not in a hurry to put a young player in the pressure cooker. That's why I think if you bring in Perry, he's been here, he's done that, he'll rise to this occasion. I'm not so sure it's fair to ask Broberg to rise to this occasion.
Fair. I agree with you on Perry. I would have put Perry in last game, to be honest. So I'm not going to get an argument for me on that one. And we'll see what the coach does. Spec, have a good one.
All right, Jay.
There you go. Mark Spector brought up some interesting points. What do you do? And hey, if Dallas is like, look who won the game for Dallas. The top line and their second line, they scored their 4 goals. So, as great as Draisaitl was earlier, a little bit of a downhill for him. Kane, Holloway, you want some production there. The top line scored 2 early, but then they gave away 2 right after that. So, defense definitely has to be better. Goaltending, sure. But like I said, to me, this was a team loss. I think there's lots of guys you can look at to say, hey, you got to be better. You got to be better. You can be better. And they're all capable of it. I would hope tomorrow is the Oilers' best performance of the playoffs because it's desperation. As big as Game 7 was in the last round, this is bigger now because now you're in the conference final. So should be a fun game. Can't wait for tomorrow. Quick break. We'll come back. DVD will join us in the Gregor Show presented by PlayAlberta.ca.
Your Edmonton Riverhawks usher in the 2024 season with a massive home opener party next Friday, June 7th, featuring Indigenous performances, a round dance, and an unbelievable light show. Get your tickets today to watch the Hawks play at GoHawks.ca.
Your love for strawberries is very passionate, you say. Just wait till you get your next taste of Booster Juice. The new strawberry blush smoothie made with strawberries, bananas, vanilla oat, and vanilla frozen yogurt will make you fall in love. And there's no tea like the Strawberry Serenity Teaser, a blend of strawberry juice, green tea, and honey. And for a tasty treat to pair perfectly with your berry obsession, the Strawberries and Cream Booster Ball has returned like your favorite dream. Visit a Booster Juice near you today or download the Booster Rewards app.
Hey Edmonton, ready to power up your projects with unbeatable strength and efficiency? Step into Edmonton Kubota, where our massive inventory meets all your needs. From rugged tractors and loaders to nimble mowers and utility vehicles, we've got the machines that work as hard as you do. And guess what? This month, we're rolling out exclusive deals that'll make your heart race faster than our engines. Drive down to Edmonton Kubota or visit EdmontonKubota.com to discover how we can boost your efficiency, productivity, and fun. Edmonton Kubota, powering your passion with every turn of the key.
The Adventure Calls event is on at GMC. Get the 2024 Sierra 1500 Elevation at 0% financing for up to 60 months. Plus, eligible Costco members can receive a $1,200 bonus on select trucks. With Sierra's available 5.3-liter V8 engine plus more cargo bed volume than any competitor, you'll have everything you need to take on any project this season, like building a brand new doghouse. That's a lot of wood. How big is this dog? Visit your local GMC dealer for details.
For a limited time at McDonald's, enjoy the tasty breakfast trio. Your choice of chicken or sausage McMuffin or McGriddles with a hash brown and a small premium roast coffee for $5 plus tax. Available until 11 a.m. at participating McDonald's restaurants. Price excludes delivery.
Sports 1440 has added another player to our lineup. Tonight, from 6 to 9, check out Turn Sports with your host, Navin Romerick. Edmonton's exclusive home of sports talk is now rolling 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.
What's cracking at Cattail? Maybe you've got the next tiger on your hands. Cattail Crossing offers young golfers Operation 36, a program to improve their growing skill set with other golfers their age. To register, email proshop@cattailcrossing.ca.
Hey sports fans, we've got a clear choice for you. At Crystal Glass, we provide customers with the perfect glass for any job. From home to auto and even commercial, installation or repairs, we're your team. Call 310 Glass or visit crystalglass.ca. Crystal Glass.
We've finished construction of our gamma radiation containment facility. Is it up to code? Is it going to be safe?
Sounds like a job for the men and women of Action Electrical.
Testing team reporting. We test your commercial operations using tools like infrared to ensure safe operation. Trust us to prevent potential calamity before it strikes.
Facing an electrical menace? Call the men and women of Action. Operating throughout Alberta at actionelectrical.net.
For a limited time at McDonald's, enjoy the tasty breakfast trio. Your choice of chicken or sausage McMuffin or McGriddles with a hash brown and a small iced coffee for $5 plus tax. Available until 11 a.m. at participating McDonald's restaurants. Price excludes flavored iced coffee and delivery.
Hey everyone, it's Brent Fullerton from Carefree RV. In recent years, we have seen a huge shift towards first-time buyers in our showroom. This has left us with a major shortage of trade-ins and used product on our lot. We are currently in need of quality used RVs. If you would like to sell or consign your RV, please call or text us at 780-438-2008 or visit us at carefreerv.ca.
No matter where your potential customers live, no matter what they watch, read, or listen to, you need a marketing plan that connects with them. Let the marketing experts at Stingray Media Solutions create a turnkey advertising strategy for your business, including radio and TV and out-of-home advertising, social and search ads, plus the creative and production. Find out the most cost-effective ways to reach your target audience and grow your business. Get started now at stingraymediasolutions.com.
When summer brings the heat, McDonald's brings the chill. During summer drink days, enjoy a small iced coffee or a refreshing Coca-Cola for $1 plus tax and step up your summer today. At participating McDonald's restaurants in Canada, prices exclude delivery.
CW Eves Troughing is busy. That's why they're looking for experienced troughers to run one of their trucks. To get paid top rates, contact CW Eves Troughing at 780-435-1492 or email info@cweves.com.
Welcome back. Jason Gregor, Connor Halley, Sports 1440, and a busy Tuesday. Man, that show was just flying by. What are we, like 25 hours from puck drop? It's a great thing about the playoffs, every second game. Well, at least when you're in the series. Might be a little bit of a break if you're an NBA fan between the conference finals and the NBA championship. Good news, though, for the NHL, because they could become the only sport in town when it comes to postseason action. And, you know, you have Dallas Maverick fans sitting there waiting. They're like, what? We have another Dallas team in the playoffs? Ooh, let's watch some of those games. Going up against the best player in the world? Sign me up. They'd watch. So it could be a little bit of a benefit here. I'm sure NHL executives are like, 6-7 games, please. 6-7 games, please, for both the East and the West. And Oilers fans be calling for that, too, because that means they're still in it. And they are still in it. They're only down 2-1. This series is far from over. Just now it becomes more urgent. The deeper you go, the more urgent the games become. Let's get to the oil report, brought to you by Volvo Cars, Edmonton.com. Canada's #1 Volvo dealership, located right here in Edmonton. 13-time award winner in sales and service. Great vehicles, even better service at VolvoCarsEdmonton.com. As we are joined by Derek Van Diest from NHL.com. And Derek, the off-day storyline is always an interesting one. When you look at it, what's your biggest takeaway from last night's loss for the Edmonton Oilers?
Well, I think the biggest takeaway is that they couldn't maintain that momentum through the first period. And it's not easy to do. Let's be honest. Everyone knew that Dallas was going to have a push. They're trying to win these games too. But I think once things started to unravel, sometimes you have to kind of fight through those lulls. And unfortunately, once things started to unravel with the Oilers, that unraveled so quickly in 3 minutes and 30 seconds. So all the good work they had done in the first period all came undone in a span of 3:33. So I think, that's the biggest thing is these guys got to be able to, cauterize that wound a little quicker. Like, well, once they give up a goal, they can't give up the next and the next. They have to be able to gain control or some semblance of control. And that you do that by making the simple plays, winning the simple battles. But they made a couple of plays where they couldn't get the puck out the first time. Desharnais, they made a bad read and tried to get the puck out. They led to the first goal. Then the second goal, they had chances, 2 or 3 chances to clear the zone, and they were unable to clear the zone. And that's when things kind of compile on you. And then while they're still trying to think about the second goal, then the third one comes in. So I think winning teams and championship teams are able to kind of hang on when they're on the ropes there. They're able to kind of get the big save or make the big clear when they're in trouble, because there's going to be ebbs and flows to games. You can't dominate a period, an entire game like you did that first period. And I think, to me, that is the takeaway, is that the Oilers didn't handle it as well as the Stars did. The Stars were dominated in that first period. They came out of it with 2-0 down. It could have been a lot worse had Connor McDavid buried that one chance he had at the side of the net. Had Darnell Nurse scored on the rebound. So I think that's the issue right there, is that the Stars made the most of their opportunities and they buried those chances. I thought those were 2 really good goals by Jason Robertson. The backhand shelf on the rebound and the snipe from the faceoff circle. And to me, that was the difference. They're making the most of their chances, and the Oilers are kind of squandering a lot of theirs.
I think that's fair. You the first period especially, I know they're up 2-0, they're dominant, but they easily could have been up more. And it's a little bit of a repeat of what happened in game 2 when they crushed them, but were even after the first. And then, another 2-goal lead that evaporated. They did manage to tie it. Now they go to the third period. They didn't give up very much at all. They had some shots, but they couldn't capitalize. And, their third period offense right now, DVD, is, as much as we want to talk about them giving up goals, which we've talked a lot about, and I think that's valid, some concerns there. But their third period offense cannot be any worse because they have no goals in the third period.
Yeah, they can. And I think, they're playing tense in that third period. I thought that third period was a tentative period for both teams, but particularly for the Oilers. They, instead of going out to win that game, they were playing not to lose that game. They were playing, okay, let's be careful, let's be tentative. We'll try and take the play to Dallas, but let's not make any mistakes. And I think in a situation like that, if you're going to be a championship team, you go out and win that game. You go, okay, we're 3-3, let's go out and win that period. And the Oilers I think they only gave up 3 shots in the period, but then one mistake and it's in the back of their net. Like that's the situation, I think. And I thought they were tentative. I thought the building was nervous. I thought everyone was nervous in that third period. But you can't play nervous hockey at this time of year. I think you got to go out. If you're going to win it, go out and win it. And if something happens, be it. but I thought they were a little tentative, and they didn't have the same jump in the third period that they did in the first. And I think if they would have been able to kind of attack that game a little more, they would have been better off. And I think Leon Draisaitl said something to that effect today, is that they just got to go out and get it. They got to go out and get it. And, he says that their offense is still not there and they got to go out and get it. But I think that was the situation, is that they're a little tentative, and then they got bit, and then they couldn't get that goal back.
Derek Van Diest joins us from NHL.com. What lineup changes, if any, would you make? And then which ones do you think Chris Knobloch is going to make?
Yeah, that's a good question. I don't know if I would make any lineup changes, because I think the way that team played in the first period, I think you want to keep going with that. I think they're starting to get some production from the bottom two lines. And I think in this lineup, playing against the Stars, you need guys that can skate. And I know that McLeod's a guy that can skate, but McLeod has had a really bad playoff. And I know a lot of people are talking about getting Corey back in there. Corey Perry back in there, but you got to wonder, is he fleet of foot enough to be able to keep up with the way the Dallas Stars transition up and down the ice? And I think this has become a skating series with two teams that are very good skaters, and it's there's not a lot of physical contact, there's not a lot of scrums. So I think, to me, I like the lineup they had in last night. I think that's the quickest lineup they have, and if they can kind of replicate what happened in the first period, I think they'll be fine. But I do believe that, there are some options there. I wouldn't make any changes, but that doesn't exactly mean that Chris Knobloch won't make changes tomorrow.
Yeah, he kind of hinted at Corey Perry coming back in the lineup, didn't he?
He did a little bit. Like, you have that experience of this guy, two-time Stanley Cup champion. You have that experience. He's gone to the final 3 times. So maybe somehow you need an intangible. You need something to get you over the top in the third period. Maybe Corey Perry is it. Maybe Corey Perry somehow finds it in his game here to be able to kind of lift the Oilers to the next level.
You look at the blue line. Would you play Brett, like if we're not going to bring in Broberg, would you play Brett Kulak more? He only played 15 minutes last night. He's only been on the ice for 6 goals against in the playoffs. And, is that something you consider? And, would you even slide him over to the right side for a few shifts maybe?
I might. I like Brett Kulak when he plays playoff hockey. I think he's a guy that can skate. He's a guy that can get up and down the ice. He's a guy that can do a lot of good things for you. Now, he doesn't always do that, and I don't know why. Like, maybe he's trying to be more defensive, responsible defensively. But he's a guy that can skate. And you talk about the Dallas Stars defenseman who can bring the puck up the ice and not afraid to jump in the rush. And Brett Kulak, to me, can be that guy, because when he does open it up, you can tell that this guy can fly. And you'd like to see more of that. But I think you do need to play him more. I think you need to get him out there a little bit more. And I think you need to give him the freedom to get up and down the ice, because to me, I think this is a guy that he's capable of doing that. Regardless of who he's playing with, I think he's a guy that he needs to be more involved. And I think the more involved he is, I think the better off the Edmonton Oilers are.
DVD quickly, Rangers and the Panthers. Panthers in the exact same boat as the Oilers. They're at home. They're trailing 2-1, and there's lots of stretches of their games. They've been the better team, but they find themselves down. Very different style of series. Like, my goodness, like anybody who watches that series tonight, they'd be like, oh, they're just hammering each other. Like, it's way more of a physical series. It's very interesting to see the different dynamics of how these two series have gone.
Yeah, it is a very physical series. Lots of cheap shots. Lots of, the Jacob Trouba. I didn't like that one bit. That chicken wing elbow. He's been throwing it basically his entire career. And he's been doing the flying elbow a couple of times and missed people. But it's a very physical series. But if I was the Panthers, I'd be the same way. They've been dominating the Rangers in long stretches of games, and somehow they're not winning. And to me, in a 7-game series, eventually the better team wins, as long as they don't throw the series away, as long as they don't throw too many games away. I think the Panthers are the better team, but they just got to cut down on their mistakes. They got to get some of those top guys going again. And I think if they can play the better game, they're going to win the series. And to me, it's about finding your best game. If you can find your best game at the playoffs, and your best game is better than the other guy's best game, then you're going to be fine. I think that's the situation I see with the Florida Panthers and the New York Rangers right now.
DVD, thanks for your time. Enjoy the series. We'll talk to you tomorrow.
Sounds good. Thanks for having me on, Jay.
There you go. That's Derek Van Diest from NHL.com. So interesting. Spec would make a few changes. Derek would make none. What would you do? We'll discuss that and more when we return to the Gregor Show, presented by PlayAlberta.ca.
The playoffs are wild. We all know that. And this year, Play Alberta is making it even wilder. Make a deposit with promo code Gregor50 to snag a $50 free sports bet with your next deposit. Get ready for unbeatable promotions throughout the playoffs with 10+ odds boost on every Oilers playoff game. Score a chance to win a pair of lower bowl or even exclusive sweet tickets for an Oilers playoff game just by making a bet on an Oilers playoff game at playalberta.ca. Bonus terms and conditions apply.
This spring, experience innovation on the road at Volvo Cars Edmonton. Right now, lease from 0.99% or save up to $4,000 on select models for qualifying loyal Volvo Cars Edmonton customers. Plus, save $5,000 on all new and demo 2024 XC60 Recharge plug-in hybrid models. Discover why we're Canada's only 13-time Volvo Excellence Award winner. Chat online at volvocarsedmonton.com or visit 1205 101st Street Southwest.
AccuSteel Heavy Haul Trailers have been providing highway and off-road custom trailers for over 25 years, bringing you innovative solutions for unconventional problems. They're your industry leader in engineered heavy haul trailer frame repairs, retrofits, rebuilds, and custom trailer fabrication. When you need to haul the largest machinery on the planet, they can do it with a premium engineered heavy haul trailer made right here in Alberta. They're 100% family owned, treating you like part of the family. Trust the experts at AccuSteel Heavy Haul Trailers. Learn more at accusteel.ca.
For a limited time at McDonald's, enjoy the tasty breakfast trio. Your choice of chicken or sausage McMuffin or McGriddles with a hash brown and a small premium roast coffee for $5 plus tax. Available until 11 a.m. at participating McDonald's restaurants. Price excludes delivery.
This spring, the savings continue at the Brick. Take up to 40% off furniture and mattresses, as well as the chance to scratch and save an additional 40% off your purchase. Plus, you'll have the chance to win great prizes, including a $10,000 Brick shopping spree. Find amazing deals on kitchen appliances and save up to $400 on sofas, so you can prepare your ultimate game day snacks and then watch the game in style. Some exclusions apply. See in-store for details. The Brick, saving you more.
Oh, j'aime mes cheveux.
Я люблю свои волосы.
No kami. Psycho.
Translation: I love my hair, and Dr. Vance Elliott is the reason why. He's an authority on hair restoration procedures, and not just in Edmonton. He teaches other doctors around the world how to perform successful hair transplants.
I'm Dr. Vance Elliott, and I want to be the reason why you love your hair. Go to drvanceelliott.com and contact us today.
Move Water is your one-stop shop for all things water. From freshwater to wastewater, we've got the pumps and solutions to keep your water moving where it matters most.
Move Water, your water solution experts.
Visit movewater.ca today.
Welcome back. Lovely Tuesday. Hey, a special Tuesday for you. It's a Gregor Show presented by playalberta.ca. Also coming to you live in the eWell inbox. 833-401-1440. Those of you watching online at Oilers Nation YouTube and Facebook and Twitter. Sports 1440 Instagram. Thank you very much. Streaming it live. Sports1440.ca on the app. Whew, it's great. Text line is hopping. Hey, boys, I hardly ever agree with Spec, but he was bang on with 2.5 on D, 3.5 on offense. Need to be better. Hey, guys, why does Nugent Hopkins get a free pass every single playoffs? Look how many goals against he's been on for. That one comes in from Douglas. Doug, I brought that point up yesterday, right? Like there's lots of things here to look for that, if you're talking about goals against all the time, well, that's a concern. There's no question about it. So, especially if guys aren't producing, right? Like some of the defensemen aren't producing, can't be on the ice with that many goals against. It's totally valid. Well, you got some forwards, and when you're scoring, but then if you score 2 but give up 2, well, now you're net zero. Hey, you're not hurting, but you're not helping. So that's why I think tomorrow the Oilers are going to come out, and not only they're going to start well, I actually think the Oilers are going to end well tomorrow night. I'd be stunned if they lay another egg for a long period of time in tomorrow's game. Like they might go 4 or 5 minutes without shots going to happen, but I just think their desperation level is going to be a lot higher. Now, you would say they should learn from this. Well, as I've said, there's lots of teams that win that have bad games, bad periods, bad half of periods. It happens. But the difference is the Oilers, you can have a bad period. You can even bad 10-minute stretch. But you can bend and bend. You just can't break and give up 3 goals in 3:33. To me, that's the concern last night. Absorb like a boxing analogy. Right? Sometimes you're in trouble. Get up against the ropes. You're leaning back. You're just trying to hang it in there. The bell's 10 seconds away. Just get to the end. The Oilers didn't do that. They just stuck the chin out and said, here, smack me. 3 times in 3 minutes and 33 seconds. Not ideal. Now, Cam Tate finally got a new laptop. The Tater man had a little bit of an issue with it. And he's back. So here's a special edition of the 2-minute warning brought to you by Legacy Heating and Cooling. Home with no payments, no interest for 1 full year on your AC unit. Stay cool all summer at LegacyHeating.ca. Here's Cam Tate for those he's usually on Monday and Fridays with us. Cam, of course, has cerebral palsy, longtime beat reporter here in the Edmonton area, but unable to speak clearly. But through the wonders of technology, Cam's words now become audio on our show.
Hello there, Mr. Gregor, Mr. Halley. Now that we have the Coke what's his name spilled on the keyboard is wiped and his buddy Corey from Sportsnet got him hooked up with a new computer, let's hide the Coke and see what happens. Cam writes, far be it from me to second-hand guess Edmonton Oilers coach Chris Knoblauch. I have a ton of respect for the man who I first MT in 2005 on the Friday Thanksgiving weekend in Red Deer when he was riding buses coaching the Kootenai Ice of the Western Hockey League. To think, when he stepped behind the Oilers bench in November when the team's tailspin was something none of USA coming to, now, 5 wins away from being Stanley Cup champions is something, and when he swapped goaltenders. Vancouver series. Remember? Knoblauch took Stuart Skinner out and put them on they call picks. Calvin Pickard. And it was a piece of the puzzle that, not only snugged into place, but, I think was a big factor the Oilers sent the Canucks golfing in Game 7. Ballsy. Gutsy. You damn right. But Knoblauch's choice not to play Ryan McLeod, frankly, leaves me scorching my ever-increasing baldy scalp. And Corey Perry, too. I don't understand. McLeod's speed and Perry the pest around the net could result in a bounce or a deflection. And, in a tight series, you never know. I think I'll go think about it. Over a Coke. 2-minute warning with what's his name Jason Gregor Show. Sports. 1440.
Interesting. Hey, everybody's got lots of takes on who should be in or out. So he wanted McLeod in. What's interesting, though, is Adam Henrique came in that spot, scored a goal. I like that move. I like the move to put Connor Brown ahead of Derek Ryan. I won't be surprised if one of Perry or McLeod are back in the lineup tomorrow, maybe both. The Broberg one is a little bit more of a risk, but I also understand why you might do it. I think you can make a strong argument. I don't think it's just as obvious as some are suggesting. Oh, you just get rid of this guy. He's terrible. You're putting in Broberg. It's not that simple. But it is one where you look at everything. Now, keep in mind, though, Broberg hasn't played in a while, and that is not something you can overlook. It's not like Rupe Hintz, who's only been out for a few games, right? It's not even, like a veteran guy who's been out for, a series and a half, like Adam Henrique. You're bringing in a young player who hasn't played at all. However, you also is the other side of it that is a young player who's just going to be so fired up, maybe not going to overthink it, right? Maybe just say, hey, Phil, you're playing tonight. What? You don't have time to think, baby? Let's go. Now, I would guess if Philip Broberg was playing, he'll know by tonight. That's usually how it works. Right? They're not going to wait till the morning skate. Now, the odd time they have, I shouldn't say it's never, but I would think that. So lots of texts coming in 833-401-1440. Hey, guys, Broberg's played in the playoffs before. Why not try him again? It's true. He has. He's got some playoff experience. You're right. And I'll say this about Broberg. The guy that, when they sent him down to the minors this year, which was the right decision because they played him a ton of minutes, when he came back up here, he just looked like a much more confident player. And I don't think that's going to wear off. And this series, I think the way this series is structured, I think it's really set up well for a guy who skates incredibly well and is good, can move the puck. So I could see them, discussing. Knobloch even mentioned it's a conversation. Now, Troy Stetcher, people have been texting. Troy Stetcher requires ankle surgery. He's done. His playoffs are over. He's so. And you know what? Something happened in practice, and so Stetcher though is done for the postseason. Right? Got injured his ankle. He was skating, and then want to say a week or so ago. And now it turns out that he'll require surgery. So he's out, in case you're wondering why he's not an option. Hey, guys, hasn't helped that the power play has done nothing here against a struggling penalty kill. Another very good point. Now, they haven't had a lot of opportunities. But last night, the power play really didn't generate any chances. The one thing about last night's power play, if you wanted to play your power play guys there coming off a long shift, then I would have called a timeout or I would have started with the second unit, even if it's only for 30 seconds. Right? Those are what I would have done because they were gassed. They just finished a fairly long shift, and then they went out with them again. And I get that it's the number one power play of all time. I totally understand that. But they're not superhuman. And I would have thought about having the second unit start or a penalty kill. Hey, guys, it's why kids playing spring hockey trumps outdoor soccer. They reschedule the hockey game that there's no other playoff game at the same time. From Melissa. I don't know what spring hockey game you're playing in, but I know my buddy was fired up because he had a game on Sunday. Or sorry, not Sunday, on Saturday and missed the first period. So did they actually reschedule all of them? Could they do that? Maybe some. Ballsy. I like it. I know we had to practice on a playoff game. On behalf of Connor Halley, I'm Jason Gregor. Enjoy it today. We got Turn Sports coming up next. If you need a stress relief, go for a walk or watch the Panthers and the Rangers. Very different style of series, but the Rangers are like Dallas. Florida's like the Oilers. Florida at home tonight, needing a win to even up the series, and they played well for long stretches, kind of like the Oilers. We'll see what happens there. Maybe it'll be foreshadowing for the Oilers. Enjoy the games. Let's get to the Con Man and a Sports 1440 update brought to you by High Street Insurance. They take the time to assess your commercial situation, get you the coverage that's finely tuned to the nuances of your business. Started in Edmonton, gone national, support local. HighStreetInsurance.com. Good night.
This is a Sports 1440 update.
The Columbus Blue Jackets have named Don Waddell as their GM and president of hockey operations. Waddell joins the club days after stepping down as GM of the Carolina Hurricanes with his contract set to expire. And the San Jose Sharks signed top prospect Will Smith to a 3-year entry-level contract after one season at Boston College. On the ice tonight, we're about 10 to 15 minutes away from puck drop game 4 between the Rangers and the Panthers. Rangers lead that series 2-1 in the association. The Dallas Mavericks looking to complete the sweep over the Minnesota Timberwolves when they meet at 6:30. Dallas clearly leading that series 3-0. Major League Baseball, the Jays are in action though right now. Rain delay in Chicago as they're taking on the White Sox. Elsewhere, Twins, Royals, Cubs, Brewers, Braves, Nationals all scoreless. The Dodgers lead the Mets 1-0. Rays Athletics also scoreless. Red Sox have a 4-3 lead over the Orioles in the 5th, and heading into the 6th, the Cards up on the Reds 3-0. Earlier today in game 1 of their doubleheader, the Mets fell to the Dodgers 5-2. Still to come, Giants and Phillies, Marlins and San Diego. The Mariners host the Astros, Yankees travel to Anaheim, Rockies up against the Guardians, and the Diamondbacks meet the Rangers. In the Memorial Cup, we're about midway through the first period as the Warriors taking on Drummondville. Both those teams looking for their first win of the tournament. And in the WNBA at halftime, Sun up on the Mercury 38-25, and the Fever trailed the Sparks 37-32 Caitlin Clark with 14 points in that one. Still to come tonight, the Sky hosting the Storm. And from the NFL, the Houston Texans signing wide receiver Nico Collins to a 3-year, $72 million contract extension, 52 of which is guaranteed. Collins still just 25, finished with 80 receptions, 1,300 yards, and 8 touchdowns last season. That'll do it for us here on the Jason Gregor Show. Up next, we've got Turn Sports. I'm Connor Halley. This has been a Sports 1440 update.
It's Sports 1440, a Stingray radio station.